Hi, baby. Oh, you want to stay here? No, that's fine. Okay, that's perfect. Just excuse me. I'm sitting by Steve. Sorry? Nasa kasi ba Steve?
Estamos bem aqui.
Oi, oi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Boa tarde a todos. Ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, Excellency Ambassador Elsa Capote Vicente, the Consul General of the Republic of Angola in Cape Town, and the management of the UWC, University of the Western Cape, you're welcome to this engagement. It's an honor to have you all, and we would love to invite everyone just to stand as we are going to observe protocol moments. We have the beautiful choir. Welcome, thank you. This very moment, we are all going to stand to sing the national anthem of the Republic of Angola. And thereafter, we're going to sing the national anthem of the Republic of South Africa, and it will be followed by a minute of silence in memory of those heroes, freedom fighters that have given their lives for the sake of our independence and liberation. So all in a standing position, we're going to sing Angola Avant, and thereafter Nkosi Sikelel.
Oh, patria, nunca más despeceremos, oh cerros do 4 de febrero. Oh, patria, nos salvamos dos destinos, tomados pela nossa independência. Honramos o passado, nossa história, construindo no trabalho homem novo. Honramos o passado, nossa história, construindo no trabalho homem novo. Angola vai ter revolução, pelo poder popular, pátria unida, liberdade, só povo, nação, nação. Angola vai ter revolução, pelo poder popular, pátria unida, liberdade, só povo, nação, nação. Nkosi Sikelel Afrika, maluphakanyiswa uphondo lwayo, izwa imithandazo yethu. Nkosi Sikelela thina, lusapho lwayo, Murena buluka sishaba sa Yesu, ufedise dintwani mazwenye. Usibuluke sishaba sa Yesu, sishaba sa South Africa, South
Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please do take your seat. Thank you very much. Beautiful choir. Please, another round of applause for the choir of the UWC. I would like just to request, as we are coming in, just to avoid the gaps, please, those that are sitting further, if you may join the lower rank so that we may seclude the whole people in one joining, please, as the choir walks, please. Another round of applause for the UWC choir. Thank you so very much. Beautiful. We know that it's quite hot in Cape Town lately. Excellency, with your permission once again. So to mention that we have officially opened with the intonation of the national anthem. So at this very moment, we're going to call the representative management of the UWC, Honorable Rita. She will be doing the welcoming remarks for this engagement. Please, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
The name is Nita Lawton Misra.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know it's difficult.
Nita.
Distinguished guests, representatives of the Consulate General of Angola, colleagues, students, and friends of UWC, good afternoon. On behalf of the Rector and Vice Chancellor, Professor Robert Balfour, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to UWC for this commemoration of Angola's 50th year of independence. We appreciate the Consulate's decision to host this occasion on our campus, and we thank all our partners for their cooperation. This occasion is significant for our university. It gives us space to consider Angola's path to independence and the historical links between our societies. It also helps us think about how higher education can support future collaboration between our countries. The histories of Angola and South Africa intersected in many ways. Both countries experienced colonial rule, displacement, and long struggles for freedom. Angola's independence in 1975, after a devastating war, aligns closely with South Africa's own transition to democracy. These journeys required determination from many sectors of society, both at home and abroad. Celebrating 50 years of Angolan independence here today gives us the opportunity to consider the achievements and the principles that guided it. Our shared histories are also reflected in the challenges we inherited. Both countries continue to live with the effects of deep structural inequalities that shape social and economic life. Even so, each has worked to rebuild institutions that uphold rights and broaden participation. This work strengthens social justice. This occasion, therefore, gives us space to think about what our countries have worked towards together. It also allows us to recognize the contributions of Angolan communities in South Africa. These shared experiences help explain why hosting this commemoration at UWC is especially meaningful. The university was established during apartheid as an institution for, within quotation marks, non-European students. Yet it became a center of intellectual opposition and democratic debate. It was also a place where human rights were actively defended. Many who helped build South Africa's democracy studied all taught here. UWC, therefore, understands the experience of liberation directly. We continue this work today in the communities we serve as a university committed to the public good. A key purpose of this engagement is to strengthen cooperation between Angola higher education institutions and UWC. UWC has a long track record of African partnerships built on reciprocity and shared research interests. Closer links with Angolan universities will support exchange in areas such as public health, education, governance, heritage studies, and development, among others. This aligns with the consulate's decision to host this commemoration on our campus. It is also consistent with UWC's strategic goal to expand its continental networks as set out in our institutional operating plan. Angola is an important partner in this landscape. Collaborative teaching, joint master's and doctoral work, staff and student exchanges, and shared research projects are practical ways to take this work forward. This occasion helps us recognize the scope for doing this. So on behalf of the Rector and Vice-Chancellor, I express our appreciation to the Consulate General of Angola for its engagement and partnership. We also acknowledge the leaders who have joined us today from government, social society, civil society, academia, and the arts, as reflected in the official attendees list. Your presence adds meaning to this commemoration. As we recognize 50 years of Angolan independence, we hope this event contributes to deeper understanding. We also hope it helps strengthen the ground for ongoing academic, cultural, and diplomatic collaboration. Angola's history reminds us that freedom is not sustained only through political change, but through education and knowledge too. It also depends on continued work to build societies that uphold justice and human dignity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nita, for the opening remarks. And as with the program we are carrying on, now I have the honor to give the floor to Our Excellency Ambassador Elsa Caposo Vicente. She's the Consul General of the Republic of Angola in Cape Town, who will now just address brief consideration with regards to our engagement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I start to read my long consideration, I was so proud of the choir. I never saw a choir counting Portuguese, South African choir. I just jumped on my chair with happiness. Thank you, thank you. Excelentíssimos senhores, eu agora vou passar para o português para seguir o protocolo. Espero que os que entendam percebam e os que não entendam vão usar aqui a barreira linguística que vai ser desbloqueada pelo nosso MC.
So now the CG will switch to Portuguese, just to follow the protocol. So for those of you that understand the language, please follow the remarks. And for those who do not understand Portuguese, we have an interpreter in-house so that he may close this language barrier. Your attention.
Senhora. Excelentíssimos senhores, excelentíssimos senhores, caros palestrantes, Nós temos aqui figuras emblemáticas, figuras que têm muito significado para a história da África do Sul.
So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, to mention that we have in the venue emblematic personalities that have given a very real and of utmost importance contribution to the history of Angola.
Dona Rita, ou Nita,
Nita.
obrigada por nos acolher.
Dr. Nita, thank you so much for hosting us today.
Dona Nita e outras figuras aqui que nós estamos a reconhecer.
So to mention that the management team of UWC and all other distinguished guests that we are acknowledging here today.
Vão me desculpar se eu não conseguir transcrever ou ler os nomes. Por isso é que eu estou aqui a evitar falar, se derem conta.
So do forgive me if I martyr any name or if I'm not able to pronounce. I'm just being a bit hesitant.
Amessa Bawa.
Umesha Bawa.
Oh, Umesha. Apology. Mr. Marius Freshman.
Honorable Marius Fransman.
Mr. Mitchell Lux.
Honorable Mitchell Blue.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Senhoras e senhores.
Caros compatriotas angolanos, caros compatriotas sul-africanos, minhas senhoras e meus senhores.
Dear compatriots South Africans, friends of Angola, compatriots from Angola, ladies and gentlemen.
É com profundo sentimento de honra e orgulho patriótico que o Consulado-Geral da República de Angola, na cidade do Cabo, dá as boas-vindas a todos.
It is with a deep sense of honor and patriotic pride that the Consulate General of the Republic of Angola in Cape Town welcomes you all.
A esta magna palestra, a este evento que para nós é uma alegria. Nós temos certeza que iremos aprender com muitos que vão fazer parte deste momento.
To welcome you to this magnificent lecture, an event that is part of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the national independence, we are very much sure that today we're going to learn quite a lot.
Consideramos evento que se insere nas celebrações dos 50 anos da República de Angola.
We consider this event a sincere memory of commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the independence of Angola.
Eu não vou dizer a minha idade, mas eu e a própria o país estamos quase com a mesma idade.
So I won't disclose my age, but Angola as a country and myself, we almost there the same age.
No dia 11 de novembro de 1975, Angola proclamou a sua soberania.
On the 11th of November 1975, Angola proclaimed its sovereignty.
Marco histórico que culminou séculos de resistência e longa e árdua luta pela autodeterminação.
A historic milestone that culminated centuries of resistance and a long and arduous struggle for self-determination.
Ao comemorarmos meio século de existência como nação,
today, as we commemorate half a century of existence as an independent nation,
reunimos-nos não apenas para celebrar, mas sobretudo para refletir sobre o percurso trilhado e o futuro que almejamos construir.
We gather not only to celebrate, but above all to reflect on the path we have traveled and the future we aspire to build.
As celebrações deste ano percorrem sob o lema Angola 50 anos, preservar e valorizar as conquistas alcançadas sobre construindo futuro melhor.
The celebration of this year, or this year's celebration, are held under the official slogan, Angola 50 years, preserving and valuing the achievements made, building a better future.
Construímos este lugar ou esta iniciativa para disponibilizar lugar onde vamos aprender, vamos partilhar, vamos interagir e vamos contribuir naquilo que é o melhor desenvolvimento intelectual de cada um.
So we have promoted these engagements in which will be set, or is being set as a platform where we're going to share, we're going to exchange experience, we're going to learn a bit more about the experience of each and every one here present.
Então, esta palestra foi concebida como marco de diálogo e partilha de conhecimento.
So this lecture was conceived as a space for dialogue and knowledge sharing.
Ancorada em 3 pilares fundamentais que espelham a nossa jornada coletiva.
And anchored in 3 fundamental pillars that reflect our collective journey.
A dimensão e o significado do 11 de novembro.
Number 1, the dimension and significance of 11th of November.
Contaremos com a valiosa perspectiva de ilustres oradores angolanos.
We will benefit from the valuable perspective of distinguished Angolan speakers
Que nos guiarão numa reflexão sobre o profundo significado desta data.
whom will guide us in a reflection on the deep meaning of this date.
Símbolo de liberdade,
A symbol of freedom,
resiliência
resilience,
e da insensata busca do povo angolano pela paz e pelo progresso.
and the Angolan people's unceasing pursuit of peace and progress.
O segundo, o papel de Angola na libertação da África Austral.
The second pillar is Angola's role in the liberation of the Southern Africa.
É impossível dissociar a história de Angola sem mencionar a história da nossa região.
It is impossible to disassociate the history of Angola from the history of our region.
O nosso saudoso presidente, Dr. António Agostinho Neto, dizia uma frase que todos nós angolanos repetimos: o Zimbábue, da África do Sul, da Namíbia, está a continuação da nossa luta.
Our late former president, Honorable Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto, he had one of the famous quotes or citation in which most of us Angolan folks would cite by saying that in Zimbabwe, in Namibia, and in South Africa, there lies the continuation of our struggle.
É neste espírito que nós continuamos juntos como irmãos, porque temos certeza que temos muita coisa em comum e que toda a situação que a África teve, nós não conseguimos ser felizes ou ter uma África saudável como Angola esteve independente, celebrou a sua independência, se os outros países vizinhos não tiveram independentes nem libertos.
So it is within this spirit of solidarity and commonness in which once Angola had reached its independence, we felt like as other African countries, brothers and sisters, were not independent yet. So we understood that as Angola, though we have reached, but other nations were still under captivity or in oppression of colonialism whatsoever, we felt like it's important for the other African nation as well to be free.
Com o contributo de prestigiados palestrantes, tenho certeza que trarão a esta magna palestra momentos de esclarecimento, de aprendizado.
With the contribution of prestigious South African speakers, we will revisit and honor the decisive role that Angola played in the struggle for the liberation of the Southern African countries.
Iremos registrar e honrar o papel decisivo que Angola desempenhou na luta da libertação da África Austral.
And also to mention that the journey that Angola has played during the struggle or the fight for liberation for the countries within the region, Southern Africa region particularly.
Incluindo o apoio crucial na luta da libertação da África do Sul
Including its crucial support in the struggle of South Africa
e na conquista da independência da Namíbia.
and the achievement of Namibia's independence.
Isto é testemunho da nossa solidariedade
So this is a testament to our solidarity
e do nosso compromisso inabalável com a liberdade de todos os povos em África.
and our unwavering commitment to the freedom of all African people.
A cooperação para futuro melhor, este é o terceiro ponto.
The third pillar that will lead us this journey, it is the cooperation for a shared future.
Olhando para o futuro, abordaremos a importância da cooperação bilateral e regional.
Looking ahead, we will address the importance of bilateral and regional cooperation.
Como alicerce para o desenvolvimento sustentável, estabilidade e prosperidade partilhada.
As a foundation for sustainable development, stability, and shared prosperity.
Angola, enquanto membro ativo da SADC e atualmente na liderança da União Africana, reafirma o seu compromisso com a interação continental e a construção de uma África mais unida.
Angola is an active member of the SADC region and currently exercising the function in the leadership of the African Union. We reaffirms its commitment to continental integration and the building of a more united and stronger Africa.
Minhas senhoras e meus senhores,
Ladies and gentlemen,
falta-me ler mais umas 20 páginas.
I still have 20 more pages to go.
Mas este encontro representa, portanto, para mim e para todos os funcionários do consulado,
So this meeting represents, therefore, for me and for all the staff members of the Consulate General of Angola in Cape Town,
e esperemos para os que estão aqui presentes também assim representa,
and I hope that the same feeling and sentiment also spread out to all the present here in this venue.
uma oportunidade para fortalecermos os laços de amizade e de fraternidade que unem os nossos povos.
This meeting, therefore, represents an opportunity to strengthen the bonds of friendship and brotherhood that unite our people.
O nosso compromisso com ideias de paz, democracia e desenvolvimento.
And also to be used as a reaffirmation of our commitment to the ideals of peace, democracy, and development.
Agradecemos a todos a presença,
We thank you all for your coming,
em especial os mais velhos que estão aqui conosco, que
É.
aceitaram o convite, que prontamente vieram passar a sua experiência.
and with a special thanks and sentiment of gratitude unto our elders, you that carry the experience, that have spent time or taken out of your busy schedule to spend time with us here and share your experiences.
Temos certeza que a sabedoria que vão passar, pelo menos a mim, eu vou levar para o resto da minha vida.
We are certain that whose wisdom will enrich our understanding, particularly to me speaking to you as a Consul General. I will carry what I will grasp from this engagement for the rest of my life.
Nkosi sikelele Angola,
Muito obrigado, Angola.
nkosi sikelele South Africa,
Muito obrigado, África.
I didn't finish yet. I'm fighting with the language, but sawubona, bayadanki. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you very much once again.
All right. So, with this being done, thank you very much, Honorable Consul General. I believe another round of applause, please. Please join me. So, as we have the room being filled up, we have the 3 couches over there, which will constitute the panel. I believe the setup is quite beautiful. We want to once again thank the management of UWC for availing. I know that this venue is being used for many other engagements, so some of you are very familiarized with this setup, isn't that so? So, but thank you for coming. Honorable Ambassador Elsa Kapos-Vicente, thank you for your affirmation and your consideration. It's indeed friendship, brotherhood that we are celebrating here, and it's Africa solidarity. Thank you so much. So we are now moving to the next item of our program, which comprises the exhibition of a short video, where we're going just to recall the moments, the crucial moments that led to our independence. So believing that the technical team is ready, so the light needs to be dimmed so that we may follow the video that is to be now presented. Thank you.
Aos 50 anos, um sonho se tornou realidade. A liberdade foi conquistada com luta, coragem, sacrifício e determinação. No dia 11 de novembro de 1975, Angola se levantou soberana, firme e unida. De lá para cá, construímos um país forte e resiliente. Superamos desafios, celebramos conquistas e escrevemos uma história de progresso. Cada ano, com a sua força e esperança, contribuiu para essa jornada. Eles tinham sonhos, tinham a força da juventude e o fogo da liberdade no olhar. Nos anos de luta, os jovens angolanos não foram apenas voz, foram a força motriz, foram a trincheira firme da revolução que consagrou a nossa vida. Independência nacional. Um sonho. Uma conquista que representa a vitória de um povo finalmente livre.
O Comitê Central do Movimento Popular de Libertação de Angola, MPLA, proclama solenemente perante a África e o mundo a independência de Angola.
Na presença dos meus filhos, saímos de Tanzânia para o 1º de maio, depois daí saímos e voltamos para casa. Era uma grande euforia naquele momento vermos a bandeira nacional a ser içada a favor dos angolanos, tendo em conta a luta de libertação protagonizada pelos próprios angolanos.
Livres para continuar a sonhar, livres para conduzir o próprio destino. Fazemos do trabalho fortaleza para vencer dificuldades. Assumimos o vermelho, o preto e o amarelo, cores que pintam a soberania e brilham na estrela do horizonte. Independentes, definimos o nosso rumo e, por vontade própria, somos um país democrático de direito. 1992. Pela primeira vez, os angolanos foram às urnas, abrindo o país ao multipartidarismo, ao respeito pelas liberdades e diferenças, mas unidos na diversidade, em 5 eleições já realizadas. Concretizado o sonho maior, o da independência nacional, seguiu-se à paz. Chegou vestida de branco, cicatrizou feridas, uniu a nação e lançou Angola à reconstrução nacional. Restaurou-se a esperança e a concretização do sonho dos mais velhos, nossos jovens, que sempre acreditaram que era possível viver em paz, unidos e reconciliados no perdão e juntos trabalharmos para o bem-estar de todos os angolanos.
Não acompanhei a independência, mas a minha avó já dizia que foi muito bonito. E com a chegada da paz em 4 de abril de 2002, o país ganhou um novo rumo de desenvolvimento, e com a livre circulação de pessoas e bens, o país está cada vez mais a marcar passos significativos para o desenvolvimento do nosso país.
A paz veio para ficar e o desenvolvimento não mais parar. Dos campos aos mares, rios, minas e de todos os lugares. Angola está em movimento e pulsa em todos os sentidos. Desde cedo apostamos no homem enquanto pedra angular da construção do país novo, que marcha firme e determinado rumo ao progresso. A formação de professores e a luta contra o analfabetismo acelerou o avanço da educação, evidenciando o compromisso com o desenvolvimento do capital humano. Em 1975, a taxa de analfabetismo era de 86%. Hoje está abaixo dos 24%.
Escolas de todos os níveis permitiram o acesso ao ensino de milhares de cidadãos. As tecnologias de informação e comunicação colocam os nossos alunos na rota da digitalização. O ensino superior e técnico-profissional expandem-se para o país, formando quadros qualificados para os desafios do crescimento.
Cuidados. Assumimos o vermelho, o preto e o amarelo, cores que pintam a soberania e brilham na estrela do horizonte. Independentes, definimos o nosso rumo e, por vontade própria, somos um país democrático de direito. 1992. Pela primeira vez, os angolanos foram às urnas, abrindo o país ao multipartidarismo, ao respeito pelas liberdades e diferenças, mas unidos na diversidade, em 5 eleições já realizadas. Concretizado o sonho maior, o da independência nacional, seguiu-se à paz. Chegou vestida de branco, cicatrizou feridas, uniu a nação e lançou Angola à reconstrução nacional.
De lá para cá é de cabinda ao Cunene, sou povo, uma só nação. Unificada, renovada e no cerne.
Restaurou-se a esperança e a concretização do sonho dos mais velhos, nossos cotas, que sempre acreditaram que era possível viver em paz, unidos e reconciliados no perdão e juntos trabalharmos para o bem-estar de todos os angolanos.
Não acompanhei a independência, mas a minha avó já dizia que foi muito bonito. E com a chegada da paz em 4 de abril de 2002, o país ganhou um novo rumo, um rumo de desenvolvimento, e com a livre circulação de pessoas e bens, o país está cada vez mais a marcar passos significativos para o desenvolvimento do nosso país.
A paz veio para ficar e o desenvolvimento não mais parar. Dos campos aos mares, rios, minas e de todos os lugares, Angola está em movimento e pulsa em todos os sentidos. Desde cedo apostamos no homem enquanto pedra angular da construção do país novo, que marcha firme e determinado rumo ao progresso. A formação de professores e a luta contra o analfabetismo acelerou o avanço da educação, evidenciando o compromisso com o desenvolvimento do capital humano. Em 1975, a taxa de analfabetismo era de 86%. Hoje está abaixo dos 24%. Escolas de todos os níveis permitiram o acesso ao ensino de milhares de cidadãos. As tecnologias de informação e comunicação colocam os nossos alunos na rota da digitalização. O ensino superior e técnico-profissional expandem-se pelo país, formando quadros qualificados para os desafios do crescimento. A valorização e dignificação do homem tem vindo a melhorar gradualmente, através dos ajustes salariais e das condições de trabalho dos funcionários da administração pública. As reformas estruturais no modelo de recrutamento e seleção de quadros promovem o mérito e a melhoria da qualidade do serviço público prestado ao cidadão. Da educação nasce a cidadania e o direito de sermos nós. Identidade. Negada no passado, hoje acessível a todos. A massificação na atribuição do bilhete de identidade é também uma questão de soberania, garantida pela Justiça, que assegura processos mais fáceis, transparentes, rápidos e mais comprometida com o combate à corrupção. Mais e melhor saúde. Nos últimos 8 anos, assistiu-se em todas as províncias à construção de hospitais que conferem maior dignidade e melhor atendimento às populações. A aposta no capital humano trouxe ao país os primeiros médicos de família, resultante do programa de formação de cerca de 40 mil profissionais até 2027. Os investimentos no setor aproximam os serviços às comunidades com assistência médica de qualidade e humanizada, garantindo saúde a todos e em qualquer lugar.
Estou satisfeita, o trabalho está a ser bem feito. É um bebê, né? Já estamos a dar já demos os primeiros passos e agora vamos começar a ver, né? Naquilo que devemos melhorar mais, não é? Que é para satisfazermos mais ainda, não é? As necessidades dos nossos pacientes, dos nossos utentes e também as nossas próprias satisfações, porque a satisfação não é só da população, também do profissional de saúde.
Graças a Deus, estou a gostar muito do atendimento das enfermeiras e da doutora. O menino veio mesmo a rasca, mas graças a Deus está a recuperar.
A saúde dos nossos concidadãos continua a ocupar um lugar relevante nas nossas prioridades e os resultados que temos obtido são bastante animadores, particularmente considerando a aposta nos serviços de proximidade e no aumento do acesso aos primários de saúde. Registrou-se um aumento de 4.899 camas hospitalares no Serviço Nacional de Saúde, passando de 37.808 camas em 2022 para 42.707 camas em 2024.
Do sonho pela Vipanda aos sonhos da realização pessoal e coletiva. Ter casa passou a ser uma das maiores ambições do cidadão. 28 centralidades construídas em 15 anos. Mais de 380 mil habitações de vários padrões, milhares de famílias, maioritariamente jovens, têm acesso à habitação e desfrutam de mais e melhor qualidade de vida. Angola superou as capacidades energéticas instaladas no período colonial. Dos vários projetos no setor, destaca-se a construção da barragem hidroelétrica de Lauca, na província de Malange. Hoje, 6.200 megawatts iluminam aldeias, bairros, vilas e cidades e alimentam fábricas, conduzindo energia necessária para o desenvolvimento do país e o bem-estar dos angolanos. Energias limpas e renováveis. Realidade visível nos parques fotovoltaicos já instalados na Baía Farta e Biópio, em Benguela, e no município de Caraculo, província do Namibe, e mais recentemente no Bailundo, província do Ambo. Rios caudalosos, água em abundância. Obras em curso vão reduzir significativamente as limitações ainda existentes no fornecimento do precioso líquido. Os projetos Bita e Quilonga Grande, em execução nas províncias de Icole, Bengo e Luanda, são apenas alguns exemplos. No sul do país, uma grande viragem, particularmente no combate à seca. Canal do Cafo, província do Cunhã, com uma extensão de 165 quilómetros, atende milhares de pessoas e cabeças de gado, irriga enormes hectares e reduz a transumância. Terras férteis, rios, mares, clima favorável e, o mais importante, o povo trabalhador. Recursos bastantes para produzir o que precisamos para viver e vencer os desafios pela segurança alimentar. Importantes investimentos aumentam a produção interna e aceleram a diversificação da economia. Projetos estruturantes revolucionam a agricultura, a pecuária e pescas. Diversas fábricas de produção de alimentos espalham-se pelo país, enquanto o setor mineiro contribui decisivamente para a robustez da economia nacional. No ano do jubileu da Dipanda, Angola inaugura a sua primeira refinaria construída enquanto Estado independente. Localizada na província de Cabinda, tem capacidade de refinar, na primeira fase, 30 mil barris de petróleo por dia. Um passo de gigante rumo ao fim da importação de combustíveis e reforço das finanças públicas.
Não deve haver um interregno entre a inauguração da primeira fase e o arranque da segunda fase. Vão ter início imediatamente. O povo de Cabinda não vai ter que esperar muito.
Mais estradas, mais pontes, circulação melhorada. Cerca de 80 mil quilómetros de estradas asfaltadas nos últimos 20 anos levam o progresso a todos os pontos de Angola. O segmento dos transportes registra ações impactantes na melhoria da atividade portuária, modernização dos portos de Luanda, Lubito e Namibe, mais dinâmicos e mais operacionais. A construção do Porto de Águas Profundas do Caio, em Cabinda, caminha para o seu termo. Nos carris do desenvolvimento estão os caminhos de ferro de Benguela, Luanda e Moçambique, equipados com novas locomotivas e estações mais acolhedoras para os passageiros. Pela extensa costa marítima, o serviço de cabotagem permite a ligação por via do Oceano Atlântico da capital do país às demais províncias do litoral. Icole e Bengo, terras de Neto. Aqui nasceu o maior aeroporto de Angola, imponente, funcional, ao serviço da economia, das populações e da aviação civil, ligando Luanda ao país e ao mundo, através da nossa companhia de bandeira que voa mais alto com novas e modernas aeronaves. No Lubito, as portas do mar abrem o corredor do investimento, importante canal de ligação de Angola aos países encravados da região, promovendo o comércio transfronteiriço de minerais estratégicos. Angola é hoje mais digital, com o lançamento do AngoSat 2, satélite de comunicações de alta capacidade, em outubro de 2022. O país melhora o acesso das populações ao serviço da internet. Paz, segurança e estabilidade. 23 anos depois do conflito militar, os órgãos de defesa e segurança beneficiam de investimentos no capital humano e modernização técnica, conferindo-os maior capacidade operativa e combativa, o que torna Angola dos países mais estáveis do continente africano. 50 anos de independência nacional. Diplomacia inteligente, ativa e moderada. Angola destaca-se em várias organizações mundiais. Em fevereiro de 2025, o nosso presidente João Lourenço era eleito presidente em exercício da União Africana, distinção que se junta a um honroso título de campeão da paz da mesma organização. Em finais de 2024, pela primeira vez, Angola recebe a visita de um presidente americano. Joe Biden constatou o crescimento de um país vibrante, com forte potencial econômico, um verdadeiro parceiro dos Estados Unidos da América em África. Cerca de 6 meses depois, a capital angolana acolhia a Cimeira Estados Unidos-África, importante janela de captação de investimento externo. Somos hoje uma voz ativa e presente em várias instituições multilaterais, das quais a ONU, SADC, CPLP, a Organização dos Estados da África, Caraíbas e Pacífico e muitas outras. Belezas raras, paisagens deslumbrantes, espécies exclusivas da fauna e da flora, clima tropical e praias exuberantes. Capital turístico que promove a imagem de Angola e atrai visitantes e investidores. Identidade e tradição. elementos essenciais da angolanidade revestida na cultura, que fortalece a nação. Mbanza Congo, marco histórico, é desde 2017 Património Mundial da Humanidade. A profecia fez-se realidade. Voltamos ao nosso carnaval. E pela primeira vez, grupos vencedores provinciais da edição de 2025 desfilaram na capital do país, no Carnaval Angola 50 anos. Às vitórias sociais e económicas juntaram-se os ganhos no desporto. 2006, Angola marca presença no Mundial de Futebol na Alemanha e em 2010 organiza o Campeonato Africano das Nações, depois de um grande investimento na construção de 4 estádios em Luanda, Benguela, Cabinda e Huila. Dribles, triplos, smash e muita vibração. No pavilhão multiusos de Luanda, a nossa seleção de basquetebol em séniores masculinos conservou a invencibilidade em casa. Ofereceu-nos mais um troféu, vencendo pela 12ª vez o Afrobasket. Um belo presente ao povo angolano pelos 50 anos de independência nacional. Angola, país de vitórias e do futuro. 50 anos de independência nacional. Preservar e valorizar as conquistas alcançadas.
How far we have come, and to mention that Angola strives, as per the CG's commitment, strive for peace, solidarity, progress and development. And this engagement is just an indication and commitment of the Angolan government through the X consulate here in Cape Town in order for us to ascertain that we walk the path or walk the talk. So thank you, the technical team. I believe that we can have the light back. Let there be light. Oh, thank you. All right. Moving on, we are now heading to the issue of the day. The protocol has been observed, and now we're going to the first panel discussion. Well, the panel strives by all means to share experiences as per the program that is being distributed. We're just going to make an arrangement to say that we're going to start with the owner of the house. The panel that will start off will be the contribution, or will be speaking on the contribution of Angola in the liberation of the Southern African countries. So the contribution of Angola in the liberation of the Southern African countries. We know that about 17, if not 16 countries within the region. And, oh, thank you. It's back. Load shedding. It's over. So to mention that I'm delighted to call Honorable Marius Fransman. He will be the moderator of this panel. So I will be addressing and giving the floor to Honorable Fransman, and he will be doing the arrangement for this, as the floor will be yours. We're here just to assist.
Thank you so much. Can we give Angola and the struggles of the last 50 years and the experience that we've seen in terms of culture, sport, trade, tourism, the economy and politics, let's give them a big hand of applause, please. Thanks so much. So I'm seeing Heroes of a Revolution, Council General. I'm noting people that were in camps, people that gave their lives so that us as the younger generation indeed could be free. So we want to say to our heroes that's here today, but also those that's not here, we want to say thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to live in a free South Africa. And we know that, we do realize and we do know that if it was not for the sacrifices of the Angolan people, South Africa would not have been free. So thank you so much, Your Excellency. part of our process now is literally a discussion and engagement. We've got people from different parts of society, but we also do have students and the younger generation that's still studying. And part of the thought process would be, how do we transcend? How do we transcend information, knowledge? How do we learn from each other? And that's really part of what the context of today would be. With that said, I will only do the moderation, and I wish to, looking at the program quickly, your MC, trying to find that program that you've given me now, essentially to invite for a few comments, and I think we talked here about the contribution to the liberation of South Africa, as well as reflecting on Angola as a strategic base in the struggle of South Africa. But as we do that, we reflect on that past and that history. But it's equally important to realize a few important things. One, that South Africa, as we sit here, our connectivity is around about telecommunications, internet connectivity is around about 76%. Angola's connectivity is around about 40%. We've got a population in the various parts of our society, and in particular, looking at the partnership of that. The population in our own country, South Africa, around about 60 million, some people argue it's 65. We've got a GDP of approximately 400 billion USD. You don't need translation, can I go to sorry for that. Roughly 400 billion USD. We've got a staggering reality of unemployment and unemployability of young people. And that's the contradiction. Angola, population approximately 40 million, and a GDP of around about $80 billion. And if you look at the two nations, we see political history. And in South Africa, we are seeing services, financial services. We see the opportunity of mining industry. We see the opportunity of manufacturing, agriculture and transport. And Angola, oil and gas, agriculture, fishing, and South Africa has a mega marine industry, and some of us argue there's at least 140 billion USD untapped in the marine economy, which we are not exploiting. But we share that coast. And in Angola also the opportunity of fishing, mining, etc. So the strategic question is, how do we reimagine this partnership? How do we reflect on this partnership and the opportunity of Africa? And if you look at some of the geopolitical challenges that we see, we see wherever there would be opportunities of minerals, that there would be challenges, global forces, West playing itself out. So in Africa in general, and in particular in SADC, we've got what we call rare earth minerals. Not critical, not general minerals anymore, but actually critical minerals, so that the laptop, the phone, etc. can work. It's to do with it's to do with 5G, it's to do with 6G, it's to do with the telecoms industry globally. And what does that mean? So some of us believe that we need to strengthen this partnership. We must pull together closer. And this discussion. The question is, at the end, what is that way forward? How do we take things forward in the context of partnership and opportunity? And therefore, with that said, I want to welcome our first speaker as part of the discussion. It's really not the input, but it's reflections. And Dr. Mesh Bawa, give him a big hand of applause. He's linked to the IR management, international relations management of the university. Also want to say, 2 years ago, I think we shared a stage somewhere. I think it was in this very room, and it was around discussions around Russia and universities and exchange programs. So let's take the challenge of what the CG said. Let's start looking at thought processes, think tank discussions, to in a sense push back some of the frontiers of our challenges that we're experiencing. For that, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Consul General. It's lovely to have you here again. And also to welcome colleagues here who are from University of Western Cape, but also people who know sacrifice and struggle and what is unfinished. And in doing that, 2 things about where UWC is coming. So I'd just like to see by a show of hands, who of you have studied at UWC, have family at UWC, were expelled from UWC, jailed by the police at UWC? Please put up your hand. All right, so as alumni, welcome home. But more importantly also, there's a charge from all of us who are here from the university and have been here for a long time, that it's critical for us to contribute back to the development of the society, that's our society, but also globally. So just from the university side, the university, in terms of partnerships, does its partnerships as called principal partnerships. The university will not partner with any institution that doesn't have the same values of the institution. And so these would be the institutions of institutions that don't have mutual respect, don't support social justice, or as we see now during this time of fascism and genocide, that don't support the universal human rights and the dignity of humans. In saying that, so what is it that we do partner in? As all of us who've been here before and now, we really are in an institution that has contributed for a long time. We have Namibian students, and during the period of apartheid, the Namibian students who were not afforded support in Namibia, our Southern African students who were not afforded support in Southern Africa, could find a home here where they were able to study and contribute back. Right? And that is something that the university is very, very strongly focused on, in supporting those initiatives that support the development and the reclaiming of dignity. Our video here reminded us that it's a struggle, and the struggle is a long and a hard one. We have Frederick Douglass, a lovely quotation by Frederick Douglass, who says that he was an ex-slave who then worked very hard in the US against slavery as a free person. And a quotation that's very famous about him is that if there is no struggle, there is no progress. And power concedes nothing without a demand. Our colleagues here from Angola, from Southern Africa, from Mozambique, Frelimo at that time, show us very clearly about how you can struggle for something that's important and build something ongoingly that helps support society. And 3 things come to mind here. One is the legacy of what the contribution of Angola and the liberation movements that were around us, how did they support us? And the previous speakers and the consul has spoken very eloquently about how on a political front we sought refuge, we were given spaces to work, we were given spaces to launch struggles against oppressors, against the apartheid regime. But also what it gave us was a sense of solidarity. Solidarity with the oppressed across Southern Africa, but more importantly, solidarity across the world. And that's something that resonates for us in the celebration of the Angolan struggle, that solidarity and collective action is the only thing that brings about change, because that struggle is continuous. And we all know that those who are not in favor of basic humanity, of a life that is of meaning and dignity for everyone, that those forces are always present, whether they be outside our country, on our continent, or in the two sections where we have a rising fascism. What it also taught us was that the struggle is a struggle sometimes that's on a political level, but also on a personal level. And we see this very much. I'm a psychologist by training, and that for what the Angolan revolution and liberation meant for us was in South Africa, and that was in 75. We had our own uprising in 1976 when young people stood, was that you can throw off the shackles of an oppressor without being afraid when you get hold of your own sense of superiority or your own sense of dignity within yourself. Biko put this very nicely. It said that the most powerful weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And that is something that has been different that the Angolan and those in liberation have shown us, and what we see now in other parts of the world, where with minimal resources, with minimal support, people are confronting oppression at great risk. They also showed us about resilience, that you can struggle, and that the struggle is long and hard, but the struggle is something that when you work collectively across the domains, across the various institutions, across the countries, that is what makes things different. We know that in the genocide in Palestine, we have a whole lot of institutions and international, multinational institutions that are working very well together to be able to be complicit in the genocide. But we also know that there are those who stand very strongly and push back, and Angola is one of those. And to that, we know in the South African situation, we have a stand that we make. It's really, really important because like what the country does, the institution also believes that all what that we do is in service of humanity. This university is open for the poorest of the poor, and I'm sure some of our colleagues here who are alumni may still be owing fees from a long time ago. Right? But I think the registrar can check that. But that the contribution is, Calvin, I see you smiling there. But the contribution back is the contribution giving back to society, whether in terms of our teaching, our research, but also a sense of empowerment of being able to be a young person who can contribute forward in the way that all of you have, and all of you that continue to do this across all your areas of influence is really very important. In 1975, what was predominant, what was the most beautiful thing at that period when liberation took place here and independence took place, is that it showed everyone else who was under the boot of oppression that they could, when they worked collectively with the support of people together, they could do things that they needed to do. And one thing that remains for us, and this is, I want to just read something quickly, that to ring fence this, the contribution that we can make is also to support strongly the process and the right of return to the soil of those who have been exiled by war or genocide or by economic difficulties. And to that, I want to read from something that your first president, President Agostinho Neto, wrote about we must return. I think it's something Voltaire. Right? Okay, and he says, we must return to our homes, to our labor, to the beaches, and to our fields. We must return. To our lands red with coffee, white with cotton, green with maize, we must return. To our diggings of diamonds, gold, copper, and petroleum, we must return. To our rivers and our lakes, to the mountains and forests, we must return. To the freshness of the fig tree, to our legends, our rhythms, and fires, we must return. To drum and thumb piano, to the throb of carnival, we must return. To the fair and golden country, to our land, our mother, we must return. We must return to liberated Angola, Angola independent. He wrote this from prison in 1960. Some of it is so relevant now in this context, in the genocide in other parts of Africa, in Sudan, in the DRC, in Palestine. There's a need for us to return to the source, as Amilcar Cabral would say. The source is one of collective struggle, collective action, and collective humanity. And for us, the responsibility at the university is the collective action to be able to make sure that education is thoughtful and available to all those who come after us. Thank you.
Thanks, Doctor. Let me, just in terms of our time, let me now invite a speaker that actually came from Angola, specifically for this visit and this engagement, Dr. Luis Paulo Ndlala. We will do, I think, translation, and he will speak for around about 15 minutes, and then we'll get into a discussion. And the first person that we also have the Friends of Cuba Society as a collective, and the first person in the discussions will give some reflections also in discussions, would be Father Michael Lapsley. Thanks. Who's Doctor? Also want to welcome the former Deputy Speaker, Comrade Leader, Chinole. Thank you for also being here.
Muito boa tarde a todos. Good afternoon. Muito bem. Muito bem. Nós queremos, em primeiro lugar, agradecer o convite que nos foi formulado pelo consulado.
We want, first of all, to thanks for the invitation that were addressed to us by the Consulate General of Angola in Cape Town.
Vou falar em português, entendo minimamente inglês, mas para falar assim tenho que falar mesmo em português.
So allow me to speak in Portuguese. I do comprehend or understand English, but in order for comfort and confidence, I would rather speak in Portuguese.
Exatamente. O tema que nos propusemos abordar.
So the topic that surprised us to speak of today
fala sobre, vamos fazer uma reflexão sobre as dimensões políticas, econômicas, sociais e outras da Angola.
So we're going to dive and make a bit of reflection on the dimension, be it politically, socially, and even economical dimension of Angola.
A República de Angola, ela foi colonizada durante 100 anos, mas teve a presença portuguesa colonial durante 500 anos.
So the Republic of Angola, it was colonized for about 100 years, but it had political Portugal ruling for about 500 years.
Foi período extremamente difícil.
It was a very difficult period or moment.
Onde foi possível visualizar uma série de situações extremamente complicadas.
Whereat we could surpass very extreme and complex situation that people lived in Angola.
Vou apresentar aqui algumas ideias que eu considero muito importantes para partilhar convosco.
And I will be sharing some ideas that I believe are deemed necessary and important to share with yourselves.
Aqui nas terras de Vandela.
here in the land of Tata Nelson Mandela.
Nós, na nossa escola, estudamos muito Nelson Mandela.
So in our academic curriculum back in Angola, we studied a lot about Nelson Mandela.
E é uma das personalidades que muita juventude adora no nosso país.
And Nelson Mandela is one of the icons, one of the personality that the youth particularly look up to.
Por isso, nós em Angola, quando se fala de sul-africanos, é assim algo do coração também.
So just to let you know that back in Angola, when we do speak of our South African brothers and sisters, so it's something dear to our heart as well.
E queremos expressar os nossos agradecimentos por tudo que vocês também fizeram por Angola. Muito obrigado, deles.
And I would love also to take this opportunity to express our sentiment of gratitude and thanksgiving for everything that South Africa as a country has done for Angola.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Reflexão sobre o contexto político, social e cultural e civil de Angola.
Reflection about the cultural, economic, political and social context of Angola.
Depois vamos falar pouco dos desafios.
So then we're going also to speak about the challenge that Angola faced the period after independence.
Explicar também porque de Angola ainda ser país subdesenvolvido.
And also to explain to you some of the reasons why Angola is still a country under development.
Por que do 11 de novembro de 1975?
Why speaking of the 11th of November 1975?
O dia 11 de novembro de 1975 foi o dia da proclamação da independência da Angola.
So the 11th of November 1975 is the day that marked the proclamation of the independence of Angola.
Os combatentes angolanos lutaram durante 14 anos.
So the Angolian nationalists or freedom fighters, they fought for about 14 years.
Angola vivia apartheid também.
So Angola, during those years of struggle, was living a similar situation of apartheid life.
Durante 500 anos,
so for about 500 years,
o nosso povo, o povo angolano, foi escravizado.
Our people, Angolian folks, they were enslaved,
morto,
killed,
humilhado.
Humiliated.
Nós vivíamos no nosso país como se fôssemos estrangeiros e os estrangeiros serem donos do nosso país.
So we, the local people, we were living in our own soil as foreigners, as strangers, and the stranger, they were living in Angola as the people of the soil.
Esta foi uma das razões que fizeram que os nossos combatentes se unissem para expulsar o colonialista.
So those were one of the main reasons that made our people to come together and to fight for liberation so that we could expel the oppressor, the colonial.
Alcançada a independência em 1975, no dia 11 de novembro.
So once we reached our independence on the 11th of November 1975.
Agora era preciso trabalhar para desenvolver Angola.
So therefore we needed to work in order to develop the country.
Esta foi a segunda causa da luta. Construir país em que os angolanos vivessem bem.
So this was the part 2 of the cause of the struggle, to build a country where Angolan people would live in their wealth.
Mas infelizmente as coisas também não correram bem.
But unfortunately things did not go well.
Surgiram as guerras.
So the civil war kicks in.
A guerra civil.
The civil war started.
A guerra de agressão.
So the aggression war.
Daí o presidente Agostinho Neto ter dito na Namíbia, no Zimbábue e na África do Sul estava a continuação da nossa luta.
And that's when Honorable former President Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto proclaimed by saying that in Zimbabwe, Namibia and in South Africa, there lies the continuation of our struggle.
Agostinho Neto também dizia, Angola é e será por vontade própria trincheira firme da revolução em África.
And Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto would add on saying, and quote, Angola is, by its own will and voluntarism, to be the frontliner of the liberation in Africa.
As coisas complicaram depois de 75.
So the things got complicated after 1975.
Mas eu vou apresentar aqui algumas alguns dados que conseguimos fazer de 75 até hoje.
So, but I will be able to share with you here
Apesar das nossas dificuldades.
some of the progress or data that we could manage to be progressive on since 1975, though we face difficulties.
Durante o tempo colonial,
during the colonial era,
o nosso país,
our country,
os angolanos não tinham direitos políticos.
Angolans, they had no political rights.
Nós éramos estrangeiros no nosso próprio país.
We were like foreigners in our own country.
Éramos escravizados no nosso próprio país.
We were enslaved in our own country.
Ou seja, éramos como uma ovelha pastada pelo seu próprio pastor.
So we were like a lamb that has been taken to pasture by their own shepherd.
Vocês conhecem a ovelha?
You know the lamb, don't you?
Ele é assim.
It is meek, isn't that?
Assim éramos nós na nossa terra.
So that's like we were in our own soil.
Conquistada a independência.
So once we conquered our independence,
ou seja, foi possível os angolanos terem uma identidade, serem angolanos.
It made possible for the local people to gain an identity, to be called Angolan.
Porque durante o tempo colonial os angolanos não tinham nacionalidade.
Because during the colonial era, Angolan people, they had no that nationality of their own.
A maior parte não tinha bilhete nem cédula.
Most of the people had no IDs or even a birth certificate.
Conseguimos conquistar durante esse período a democracia para o nosso país.
So we were able to consolidate the democracy during this period in our country.
Coisa que não acontecia no tempo colonial.
Something that was not possible during the colonial years.
De 75 até hoje, os angolanos conseguem reclamar, sugerir, manifestar, exprimir os seus direitos.
So since 1975, the local Angolan people now they are able to protest. They are able to go to the streets to complain for whatever situation is there.
Fizemos uma constituição republicana.
So we have made a republican constitution for the country.
Foi possível também construir exército republicano.
So we also were able to put together a republican army.
Dar estabilidade política no nosso país.
To gain political stability in our country as well.
Angola é dos países a nível do continente africano que tem estabilidade política.
Angola is one of the countries in Africa that has, for sure, political stability.
Conseguimos também garantir a governação coesa em todas as províncias do país.
We also managed, by all means, to have a governance, a coherent governance within all the provinces of the country.
E conseguimos afirmar o nosso país no contexto internacional.
And we could manage as well to affirm our identity or our principles as a country in an international arena.
Ou seja, saímos de país de guerra para país mediador de conflitos.
So we moved from a country struck by war into a country that mediates war today.
Que é dos grandes ganhos, quando antes era o contrário.
So which is one of the greatest achievements because in the past was the opposite.
Do ponto de vista econômico,
from an economic point of view,
durante o tempo colonial,
during the colonial era,
todos os direitos econômicos para os angolanos não eram reconhecidos.
All the economic rights for the Angolan folks were not recognized.
O angolano não podia criar riqueza.
Angolan folk would not be able to accumulate wealth.
Angolano não podia ser empresário.
He could not become a business person.
Todos os salários altamente remunerados, bem pagos, eram só para os estrangeiros, ou seja, para o colonialista.
All the salaries, the well-paid or the well-paid salaries were only allocated for the colonizers.
As atividades econômicas eram todas vedadas para os angolanos.
The economic opportunity were restricted, were actually impossible for the Angolans to reach into.
Depois do colono, ou seja, com a independência,
so once we conquered our independence,
as atividades econômicas passaram a ser livres.
Our economic activity became free or open.
Qualquer angolano ou não angolano vai para Angola, realiza sua atividade livremente.
Each Angolan or even non-Angolan, they can go into the country and trade or do commercial activities freely.
Temos uma governação que presta contas ao cidadão.
We have an executive or government that, by all means, is accountable to the citizens.
Parlamento que funciona.
We have a parliament that works or functions.
Durante este período de 75 para cá,
so from 1975 thus far,
Angola conseguiu construir 29 bancos.
So Angola managed to put together or to build about 29 commercial banks.
No tempo colonial havia apenas
In the colonial era, we had only one.
E banco só de uns.
And that bank would only be catering for few of the colonizers.
Conseguimos criar 17 agências seguradoras.
So we now managed, since 1975, we put together 17 insurance companies.
Angola, neste preciso momento, está-se a preparar para ser país autossuficiente em termos de energia elétrica.
So Angola currently, as we speak, all the effort is being put into place in order to be self-sufficient when it comes to electricity.
Construímos cerca de 3 barragens que vão dar energia elétrica não só para Angola, mas para a África e quem sabe para as pessoas.
So we managed to build about 3 hydropower dams or electrical power stations since 1975, and once they are fully functioning, we are going to be able to electrify the whole country, not only the country, and some part of Africa. Who knows, South Africa will benefit.
Se visitarem Angola hoje, vão ver que ainda tem casas que não têm energia, tem bairros que não têm energia. E eu explico porquê.
So if you travel to Angola today, you will still see the reality, some of the houses that have no electricity, some of the streets that are not having electricity, and I'll explain to you why.
Nós, em termos de produção, construção, concluímos o trabalho.
So Angola is a country in terms of power generation or supply, we have done our job.
Agora estamos a trabalhar para a distribuição, para a eletrificação do país.
So now it is the next stage that we are working on, a distribution phase or the electrification of the country.
É o que estamos a fazer agora.
So this is what is happening currently.
E todos aqueles que querem investir em Angola, da indústria, daqui a mais ano, 2, podem instalar as vossas indústrias em Angola.
And unto all of the business people that would want to invest in Angola, in a manufacturing industry, in 2 or 3 years from now, you are able to establish your own factory at that time.
Nós, desde 75 para cá, conseguimos construir 18 mil quilômetros de estrada.
So since 1975 until 2025, we managed to build about 18,000 kilometers of roads.
Interligar o país que estava completamente destruído, principalmente com a guerra civil.
And connect the country or link the country that was devastatingly destroyed, particularly during the Civil War.
No campo do desporto, foi possível fazer estádios de futebol, estádios regionais.
So on the sports arena, we managed to build about few stadiums or arenas, sports arenas.
Daqueles estádios que o colonialista tinha deixado muito pequenos.
Which differs from the former infrastructure for sport or stadium that the colonizers had built in the past.
Uma rede hoteleira que funciona.
We have established an hotel industry that works in Angola.
Por exemplo, no tempo colonial, na província da Huila,
so, just to take an example, in Huila province, which is in the central southern part of the
até
country,
1975 tinha apenas hotel com 40 quartos. Quer dizer, toda a província, se recebesse visita, só conseguia acolher 40 pessoas.
So, during the colonial era, in Huila province, the whole province had only one hotel with 40 rooms. So, if we would receive guests, only 40 people would be accommodated in that hotel.
Nós temos mais de 3.000 quartos.
So, today in Huila province, we have more than 3,000 rooms.
Saímos de 40 para 3.000.
So, since 1975, from 40 to 3,000 rooms we have.
E tem quartos para cada um de vocês. Quando forem a Angola, ninguém vai ficar na rua.
So, and in Wheeler province, the invite is being given. There are rooms for all of you. Once you go there, no one will stand in the street.
Do ponto de vista social,
So, in a social point of view or aspect,
prontos, aqui é onde também estava um grande problema, o acesso aos serviços sociais, por exemplo, para a educação, a saúde, os serviços públicos, eram restritos e, em muitos casos, inexistentes.
so we can see through this slide that in terms of social aspect, the access for the civil services or social services were restricted. Health, education, and any other civil services were restricted for the people.
Em 1975,
In 1975,
Angola tinha aproximadamente 15 milhões de habitantes, de acordo com o censo.
Angola at about 1975, around about 15 million people as per the census those days.
Destes, apenas 15% tinha escolaridade, mas a escola era apenas ensino primário.
So those 15 million, only about 15% of those, they had access to school, but only at basic primary level.
Os angolanos iam para a escola para aprender apenas a fazer umas contas, ler um pouquinho e estudar até a quarta classe, não passavam disso.
So Angolans, they were able to go to school to do few basic mathematics and to learn how to write and to read, but only until grade 4, not beyond that.
Havia separação, mesmo os angolanos a escolher aqueles que o colonialista achava que devia assimilar, o resto não ia à escola.
And there were segregation. Not all Angolians were able to go to access a school. The ones that the colonizer would be keen to uplift, those are the ones that would be picked to go to
De
school.
1975 até hoje, em 2002, nós tínhamos 2,5 milhões de estudantes no ensino, no primeiro
ciclo.
No primeiro ciclo.
So since 1975 until 2002, when the peace was established in Angola, independence. So we had about 2 million students from grade R until grade 7.
Em 2012, este número subiu para 8 milhões.
So from 2 million until 2012, this number increased to 8 million.
Neste momento estão a estudar da 10ª até a 12ª classe 10 milhões e meio de alunos.
So currently, as we speak, we estimate students from grade 10 to grade 12, we have about 10.5 million students currently.
Ou seja, nós saímos, né? Se não fosse a guerra, imaginem onde nós estaríamos.
So then, doing this statistic or data of information we're sharing, now we reflect upon if we had not undergone civil war, we would have been way far.
Até 1975, Angola tinha apenas uma única universidade.
So until 1975, Angola only had one university.
Aquela que depois veio se chamar Universidade Agostinho Neto.
The one that further after independence became the University Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto.
De 1975 até hoje,
so since 1975 until today,
nós temos 8 universidades regionais.
So we have 8 regional universities.
Vários institutos politécnicos superiores.
We have various higher institutes, polytechnics.
Ou seja, nós temos 71 instituições de ensino superior. Destas, 24 são públicas e as outras são privadas.
So, in general, we have about 71 higher education institutions in the country, and 24 out of the 71 are public.
Nestas 24 universidades públicas, o ensino e a aprendizagem é totalmente grátis.
So, within those 24 higher education institutions in Angola, the teaching or the academics is totally free.
Até 1975.
So until 1975,
pessoas estudadas com faculdade,
so people that were having a degree or higher education,
não chegavam 100.
we had would not reach over 100.
Se tiver errado, quando o general que nos acompanha vai mais virar por nós chegamos a 100 pessoas.
So if I'm mistaken, we have Honorable Speaker, the General Baltazar, he can ascertain this information.
Hoje, assim como estou a falar, nós temos 320 mil estudantes a estudar.
So as we speak, we have about 320,000 students at higher education.
Todos os anos estamos a tirar mais de 5 mil licenciados de vários métodos.
So every annum or per year, we're taking more than 5,000 graduates for.
Saímos de 100 para 320 mil.
So from 100 people attending higher education to 320,000.
A nível da saúde.
So at the health sector.
Pronto, os hospitais no tempo colonial eram hospitais concentrados apenas nas grandes capitais.
So during the colonial years, hospitals back home, they were kind of concentrated only in the capital cities of each province.
Nós conseguimos construir hospitais em todas as províncias, municípios e comunas.
So today we managed to build a medical center or hospital in all the municipality and local communes.
Em termos de infraestruturas hospitalares, Angola não tem problema.
So when it comes to hospital infrastructure, medical centers, Angola has no problem whatsoever.
A grande dificuldade que temos é apenas na qualidade de alguns recursos humanos.
So the difficulties or the challenge that we are dealing with, it is the quality or the expertise in terms of human resources.
Porque nós estamos a formar agora em todas as províncias, temos nós temos 8 faculdades de medicina.
So this issue of human resources, we are fighting or we are tackling this challenge because currently we have about 8 faculties that does medical studies in Angola.
Cada uma dessas faculdades anualmente está tirando 50 a 60 médicos.
And out of those 8 faculties of medical studies, annually they are releasing to the market or to the field about 50 medical doctors.
Estamos com uma média de 400 médicos por ano.
So we have an average of 400 medical doctors per annum.
Em 75 não tínhamos praticamente médicos angolanos, nenhum.
So in 1975 we had not even a single medical doctor Angolan.
Então tivemos aqui salto muito grande.
So we can see that in terms of progress, we made a huge one.
Do ponto de vista cultural,
so on the cultural aspect,
Angola em 75, todas as práticas culturais, mas todas mesmas dos angolanos, eram consideradas práticas não válidas, obscuras.
So until 1975, all the indigenous, all the local cultural practices of the Angolan people were considered something as a witchcraft, not allowed.
Por exemplo, todas nossas etnias foram chamadas de tribo.
So all our ethnic groups were called tribes.
Tribos são aqueles que só estão, é grupo que só está. Quer dizer, nós não éramos pessoas.
So,
Era assim que nós éramos considerados.
So tribes are like a group of people, not considered as people per se, human being, just human beings. They just exist.
As nossas línguas foram chamadas de dialeto.
So our language, local vernacular, we're called the dialect.
Ou seja, nós não falamos para os colonialistas, quando estamos a falar, estamos a cantar ou a chorar.
So for the colonizers, speaking our own vernaculars, they were seeing us as not people talking or speaking. We were like crying or singing.
Todos os nossos nomes foram alterados na escrita e na pronúncia.
All our names, our local names, were altered or changed in the way of writing, even on its pronunciation.
Ele chegava e dizia: você é o Antônio Fernandes, charado colonialista.
So the colonizer would come to you to say you are called Antonio Fernandes, so your namesake is the colonizer.
As nossas danças,
our dance,
as nossas práticas religiosas,
our religious
os
practices,
nossos cantos,
our singing,
todos eles ou todas elas
all of them
eram considerados práticas feticistas.
they were considered as sorcery, as a witchcraft practices.
Quer dizer, angolano não reza,
So Angolan, you cannot pray.
religião é só aquela que ele trouxe.
So religion is only the one that came from the West.
Então era assim que éramos considerados do ponto de vista cultural.
So that's how culturally we were identified or portrayed.
Com a independência em 75,
So with our independence in
todos
1975,
esses direitos
all of these
foram
rights,
repostos.
they were given back.
Hoje,
Today,
angolano decide que nome é que vai colocar no seu filho.
so today as an Angolan, you're the one who dictates or decide which name
Ela
to
pode
attribute to your
colocar
son.
nome de americano, nome de sul-africano, ninguém coloca impedimento.
You can even name a South African name to your Angolan child or an American name. No one will stop you from not doing it.
A maior parte de nós não fala a nossa língua local.
So the majority of the local people in Angola, they do not speak the local vernacular.
Vocês falam bem as vossas línguas locais.
But I noticed that here in South Africa, it's something different.
Mas em
People speak
Angola, a
their
maior
own
parte
language.
da juventude não fala.
So, but in Angola, it's a reality that the majority of the youth, they are
Porque este
unable to
valor
speak.
foi destruído pelo colonialista na altura que proibia falarmos as nossas próprias línguas e nos obrigava a falar o português apenas.
Because this value was stopped or was prohibited by the colonizer, because whenever would find the locals speaking their own vernacular, they would be banned.
Prontos, para concluir.
So, I'm heading to the end now.
Em termos de direitos civis,
So, with regards to the civil rights,
prontos. Os angolanos no tempo colonial
so Angolan people in the colonial era,
não tinham cédulas.
they had no birth certificate or an abridged.
Ou quando tivessem uma cédula, era desenhado atrás da cédula um macaco.
So, but the ones that were able to get a sort of a
Era desenhado atrás da cédula um bebê com cauda, com rabicho.
So to mention that those local indigenous people that would be having access to civil registration, they would receive it, but to identify at the back of that document, there would be drawn an image of a baby with the tail.
Eram assim as cédulas todas.
That's how it was standardized.
Então, esses direitos todos, de registros, bilhetes, o próprio casamento em si, eram limitados para muitos e para outros que a maioria praticamente não tinham acesso.
So General Baltazar said that he did not go through that process, so it didn't affect him. He's here present. So to mention that all these civil rights, to have the IDs, to have the unabridged or any sort of document, it was restricted, and the majority were segregated from not having access.
Hoje, esses direitos todos estão repostos.
So today, as we speak, all these civil rights are now restituted.
Hoje, uma criança que nasce tem direito a registro. Pode-se encontrar uma criança sem cédula, um cidadão sem bilhete, mas não é uma questão de proibição. É uma questão de saber porque é que ele não foi tratar o bilhete ou o que se passou de concreto.
So today, if a child is born, automatically has to be registered. You might find one or two or any case, but it's not because it's prohibited or it's restricted. It's because they do not do what they're supposed to do.
Pronto, independentemente de termos tido muitos avanços, quais são os nossos objetivos?
So independently, we've had some progress in our country. What are our challenges to say?
Nós, a nossa maior luta neste preciso momento é tirar Angola de país subdesenvolvido e dependente de coisas que devíamos fazer na nossa própria terra.
So one of the greatest or biggest challenges that we have currently in Angola it is to move Angola from this underdeveloped country and to start producing the basic things locally.
É formar quadros, não apenas de acordo com aquelas quantidades que eu fiz referência, mas quadros qualificados, capazes de responder às reais necessidades do país e não só.
And also another big challenge that we have, it is to get people trained and qualified, not only in quantity, but in quality. People need to be trained and qualified properly to respond to the needs and the challenges of the country.
Criar uma indústria funcional,
and to create a very functional industry,
serviços sociais que funcionem e respondam à maior parte da população. Nós somos cerca de 35 milhões de habitantes.
and to create functional services that can assist and be of service to the majority of the population.
Muito grande. A maior parte da população não tem o necessário.
So we are around about, as per the latest census, 35 million, and there is still a huge gap. There are a lot of people that do not have the basic
A nossa luta
needed.
é inverter isso, ou seja, criar uma classe média em que a maior parte da população esteja ali, tenha o mínimo necessário.
So,
uma boa alimentação, bons serviços de saúde, uma boa escola, uma boa casa e bom emprego para a juventude.
So this is also one of our greatest aspirations in order to elevate our middle class, in order to bring unto people good education, good healthcare system, good housing, and a good job or employment for people to have a well-being stable.
No campo político, continuarmos a consolidar a democracia.
So in the political arena, we strive also to continuously consolidate our democracy.
Somos país em que tivemos uma guerra entre irmãos que durou durante 27 anos.
So we are a country that we had a civil war that lasted around about 27 years.
Mais de 2 milhões de angolanos morreram nessa guerra.
More than 2 million Angolians died during the civil war. So thousands of orphans.
O nosso exercício é lutar para consolidar a democracia, ou seja, não pode haver inimizades entre nós, independentemente da nossa diferença, mas a nossa maior competição tem que ser democrática.
So to mention that one of the biggest challenges for us to consolidate democracy in our country, so non-unfriendship or enmity. Yes, we can think differently, we can disagree, but we're going to be amicable, all democratically resolved. And we continue to preserve the peace that was achieved 2002. To conclude,
alcançamos a independência em 75,
so we reached independence in 1975.
Mas depois da independência nós tivemos várias guerras. A guerra de repressão.
So we had the repression war after independence, 1975.
De 75 a 88.
Lasted about 13 years, 1975 to 88.
Muitos sul-africanos também lutaram lá no nosso território.
So,
a famosa batalha de Cuito-Canaval.
So this war, repression war, many South Africans, they fought in Angola with the famous Cuito-Canaval battle.
Foi período muito difícil para Angola.
So this was or symbolized a very difficult period of season for Angola.
E ao mesmo tempo que acontecia essa guerra, tinha outra de 75 a 2002 que durou 27 anos.
So at the same time that the war of repression happened, we had simultaneously the civil war, which lasted about 27 years.
Isto também atrapalhou o nosso desenvolvimento, infelizmente.
So these two situations kind of lagged us behind in our progress of development.
E outro grande problema também é a corrupção.
So one of other biggest problem is corruption.
Esta é uma das grandes lutas que nós temos que fazer.
So this is one of the greatest struggle or battle that we need to go through.
A corrupção tem que ser combatida.
So corruption needs to be fought against.
Porque não podemos ter país independente politicamente, mas com muitos corruptos. Assim nós vamos avançar.
So we cannot have a country politically independent, but with a lot of corrupt people. We cannot progress in that manner.
Esta também é uma das grandes lutas do governo atualmente liderado pelo presidente João Lourenço.
So this is one of the motto that is being led in the forefront by current head of state, Honorable João Lourenço, the president of Angola.
Finalmente, agradecer a todos pela pela vossa atenção.
So just to conclude, I want to thank you all for your attention.
Agradecer a todos que lutaram para uma Angola independente.
And also to thanks unto all of those that have fought for an independent Angola.
De forma particular, há muitos sul-africanos que se juntaram à nossa causa em Angola.
So, in a particular manner, to many South African fellows that have joined us in our struggle.
E para essa geração, essa juventude, dizer que não há benefícios duradouros sem sacrifício.
So, and to the current generation and to the youth in the venue or in this room, I tell you that there are not long-lasting benefits without sacrifice.
A nossa missão,
our mission,
não é olhar para trás.
It is not to look back.
É olharmos para frente.
It is for us to look forward.
Trabalharmos para desenvolver não só Angola, mas a nossa África.
We need to work in order to develop not only Angola as a country, but we need to develop the whole continent, Africa.
Os esforços empreendidos pelos nossos líderes, Agostinho Neto, Nelson Mandela, os Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere e tantos outros, esses esforços não podem ser destruídos por ninguém.
So all the progress and the effort that have been put forth through our leaders, to mention a few, Agostinho Neto, Nelson Mandela, and Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and others, they mustn't be destroyed by any other ambitions whatsoever.
Independentemente de uns estarem lá em Angola, outros na África do Sul, mas somos todos filhos de um só Deus e de uma única pátria que se chama África.
So independently of some of us being in Angola and others residing or being here in South Africa or being South Africans, we need to remember that we are all God's children and we need to strive by all means to the progress and development of one Africa. God bless Angola.
Abençoe a África do Sul.
God bless South Africa.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, and you've got these beautiful hotels in Angola. Now you specifically came for this activity. So we also want you to experience the hospitalities and the beautiful hotels in Cape Town. So please enjoy your stay in Cape Town. We will, I've got a bit of, because of the translation, I think we understand. There's also another, after myself, the Consul General will take over. So just trying to manage the process, we will only allow for 2 or 3 people on this particular process. And then it's really just a point or a question, etc. And then our panelists can reply. But before that, Father Michael Lapsley, Honorary President of the Friends of Civil Society. Give him a big round of applause. And then also we've seen Councillor Donny Sally Walker and the Palestinian delegation, the leadership. Thank you for joining us.
Your Excellency, the Consul General, dear friends, fellow freedom fighters, good afternoon. Are you going to sleep already? I just want to say a few words that, on behalf of the Friends of Cuba Society. And before that, I was very struck when my brother was speaking. I'm very close to the people of Timor-Leste. And of course, Timor-Leste had more than 300 years of Portuguese colonialism. And at the end of the 350 years of colonialism in Timor-Leste, there was not one graduate. Not one graduate. Over more than 300 years. We cannot speak about Angola without speaking about Cuba. and the people of Cuba. If you want to understand the meaning of the word internationalism, it's spelled C-U-B-A. A country that more than any other has taught the world the nature of internationalism. 1975, I was a white boy and a student here at the University of Natal and Durban. And as I've been listening to the speakers, I've been thinking about my own journey as well. And I should just say also, I'm happy to be here at this university. I'm an honorary graduate of the University of the Western Cape. Very happy to be here. And I should just say as well that I said to the Cubans in Zimbabwe, when I return to South Africa, when I return from exile, one of the things I'm going to do is set up a solidarity organization in South Africa with Cuba. And with other comrades from the South African Communist Party, we did that. Even before democracy came to South Africa, we started the Friends of Cuba Society. But I'm glad my brother mentioned those particular words, Kuita Konavai. And it's interesting that in South Africa today, there are still white racists who want to rewrite history about what happened in Kuita Konavai. As the Friends of Cuba, we were very fortunate when Comandante Fidel came to South Africa. He had a meeting with the Companeros, and he described blow by blow what happened at Kuita Konavai, where the Comandante from Havana was still in full command of the internationalist troops that fought on that day. But we shouldn't underestimate, and the comrade referred to that without the Cubans, Namibia would not have become free when it did. It would not have paved the way for us achieving democracy in South Africa. But it's important on the 50th anniversary, we don't forget the sacrifice. And my brother said today, we cannot have progress for Angola without sacrifice. I've been to Cuba many times, and I've met Cubans who fought in Angola, but there were many who never returned, who never went back to the homeland. And so today, their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren, they're proud of what their ancestors did, but they're still grieving. And I'm very conscious of what my brother said about how many lives you lost in the Civil War. And the deep emotional and spiritual scars that are part of the soul of Angola as much as they are part of the soul of South Africa. But the extraordinary thing about Cuba is it made a choice. It saw that imperialism, apartheid South Africa, was on the rampage. And the Cubans said, no, it stops with us. The other thing that not everybody knows is there was a point in the Battle of Kuita Konavai when the racist troops were surrounded. They were outmaneuvered. The Cubans at that point could have slaughtered thousands of young white South Africans. But they were about justice and peace, not about death and destruction. So the Cubans took a step backwards and said, let's negotiate. In the same way that the African National Congress could have fought forever, but once the racists said, we'll negotiate, we negotiated. Because we were not about war, we're about justice for all our people. Let me not go much further. I just want to say, Viva Cuba, viva! Viva! Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Father Michael. So I'll allow only 2 hands in this particular process. I'm noting, I'm just hanging. 1, 2. Excellent.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Taron and I'm the Consul General of Namibia. I think I cannot sit still after we heard all the important role that Angola played with the liberation struggle of Namibia. And I want to take the opportunity to wish our congratulations to the Republic of Angola on your anniversary. Namibia stands in unwavering solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Angola. We recall with profound gratitude that the important role Angola played in achieving its own sovereignty in 1975, but also serving as an unshakable real base and an indispensable shelter for Namibia liberation struggle. The freedom we celebrate today was in part fought on the Angolan soil. May the strong bonds and friendship, shared sacrifice, and mutual respect continue to flourish for generations to come. I just thought it's important that I need to do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, hearing Angola's sentiment towards, Western imperialism and fighting against the West and, unifying an African stance under one African nation, how is it that, with Angola's history, you guys fought the West, you fought America, and now we see that when Angola is reaching its independence, we see that Angola is being funded by the West. Us as South Africans, we've taken a stance against Western imperialism, against, colonialism, and we've been sanctioned so heavily by America. So how is it that Angola is being funded by the same entity when we should be creating an African unifying against Western colonization sentiment? Thank you.
We did say it's a thought process and a think tank discussion. I'm just going to allow, because I did give 2 people, the Consul General has the next session, and our General in that process also will speak. So I'm just very mindful of the time, if you can deal with it. No, but in short, no, I was referring no other hands. Is it fine? Thanks. Is it a big question?
Thank you so much for the question address.
Pronto, eu vou responder, mas se não estiver satisfeito pode depois voltar e vamos clarificar.
So I will attempt the question, but if you're not satisfied with my response, we can have a better session for clarification.
Do ponto de vista do posicionamento, Angola sempre definiu-se como sendo país dos não alinhados.
So, to mention that when it comes to our political strategy, Angola has been always defined as a country that is non-aligned. It's sovereign.
Nós somos país, claro, soberano.
We are a sovereign country.
E temos a liberdade de escolher com quem vamos trabalhar hoje ou vamos trabalhar amanhã.
And we have the freedom or the liberty to choose whom to collaborate with today and who to work with tomorrow.
O facto de, por exemplo, a União Soviética apoiar o MPLA na luta contra as guerras todas, contra o apartheid, não significa dizer que vamos ficar amarrados à União Soviética.
So the fact that the Soviet Union or Russia per se supported or assisted or trained MPLA in order to struggle to fight against all the wars that fought does not mean that today we need to be tied up to Russia or the Soviet Union.
Agradecemos o apoio da União Soviética.
We do thanks and we recognize the support given by the Soviet Union.
Okay. Por exemplo, fez a pergunta por que estamos muito alinhados com o Ocidente. Não. Antes mesmo de se falar do Ocidente hoje, a China é o país que ajudou Angola depois da guerra para a reconstrução do país.
So before we speak much about the West or the Westerner, let us bring China into the picture. China is the country, one of the countries that helped, let's say, really helped Angola after the Civil War in order to rebuild the whole scramble of the war.
Então nós não temos dificuldade de trabalhar com os diferentes países.
So Angola is a country, we do not have any sort of impediment or difficulty to collaborate or to work with any country in the world.
Hoje entendemos que o Ocidente tem aspectos que sejam importantes, nós vamos lá buscar. E assim sucessivamente.
So today we do understand that the Western or the West might have some aspects that are important or deemed necessary for our progress. Then we collaborate at that level, and that's moved on.
E pronto, é assim que a nossa política serve.
So that's how our foreign policy or strategy is being aligned.
Thank you, Doctor. I was wondering how you're going to answer that one. Let me just say on that, I think we must not make assumptions, and part of the strategic thinking is we mustn't make assumptions. What's your name again? Hussein. Just talking about our own country. Today, a few hours ago, and we're not looking at the news now, but a plane carrying Palestinians landed over Tambo. Passengers and reportedly refused entry into South Africa. That is not an Angolan soil, that is not an Congolese soil, that is on a South African soil. There's contradictions in the context of nation states. And those contradictions are massive. Because in a global village, what we'll find is those challenges where we know that a policy trajectory, but the implementation can at times be something else. Also, in South Africa, with the scenario now, not of, you still have the ruling party, you still have the liberation movement being the ruling party. In South Africa, we do have a GNU, a government of national unity. And what you'll see there is you will see a process where there's an attempt to bring a progressive agenda in terms of its policy trajectory of 70 years ago, the Freedom Charter, and what the Freedom Charter stood for, and a new liberal agenda playing itself out within the South African state, from a, should I argue, a right-wing approach, from some of those in the context of the one party, the Democratic Alliance. So these are contradictions. And therefore, part of what we think should happen is that these discussions should continue. Because the problem that we've got currently is we're looking at simple responses all over, on unemployment, on crisis of crime, and this and that. Simple responses to about complex issues. And I think that's going to be somehow, and part of what I think we are seeing a disservice taking place from all over in South Africa, where we do not have umgabulu anymore, where we're not having the discussions that matters in terms of how to take the deeper issues forward. And I think that's what this lecture is also about, to bring forth correctly so those discussions and those questions and the strategic challenges relating to it. But with that, I want to say to both our speakers within this panel, you've raised issues of legacy, you've raised issues of resilience, you've raised issues of academia, as well as, for example, historical context, and then our doctor from Angola. One of the central issues, apart from the successes there, for me stood out, a functional state. You talked about the state, the spheres of the state, provinces, national, etc., and the fact that there is a functional state in your country. Because the backbone of development, the backbone of cultural development, economic development, social development, etc., would be that there should be a coherent and functional state in our context. But these two countries, we've seen very recently Madagascar, another coup d'etat after 10, 12 years. We've seen Tanzania, the situation there. SADC, 350 million plus people, was able over the last 10 years argue that we're the most stable in the context of any regions, any region in Africa. That is coming under contradiction as we speak. But Angola and South Africa, Namibia, and a few other countries possibly can be that torch bearers of continuing the path towards that functional state. From my side, we're looking at partners. So you would have seen right at the end there was an entity called MRI, Research Institute. We're looking at institutions and partners that we can take hold hands between Angola and South Africa and take these discussions forward. With that, Your Excellency, Consular General, over to you. Thank you.
Please, another round of applause for Marius Franz Mann. He's a man very passionate about Africa. I've watched him, I've seen him, I've followed him, and he speaks out with passion. And with all due respect, we have our elders here. We do thank you for your contribution. So, for the sake of time, we need to move. I would now be honored to call Her Excellency Ambassador Elsa Caposo Vicente, the Consul General of the Republic of Angola in Cape Town, and she will now moderate this panel, the second panel, which will be speaking about the fight of, or the struggle of liberation of independence of Angola, and will bring about some of the reflections. So, Excellency, the floor is yours to bring the speakers. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I'm more. I feel that I can take my shoes off and be beyond my walls. Besides being a diplomatic side, I've been a lecturer. So thank you for listening to me. Now I have opportunity to talk, but let me go again to Portuguese because I feel more comfortable, but I also always have to follow the protocols. Então, Angola, este tema que nós hoje trazemos, a contribuição da Angola para a libertação da África Austral, em particular a África do Sul.
So now we are in our panel 2, and the topic that we're going to be speaking on will be about the contribution of Angola for the liberation of the Southern African countries, particularly now with the focus, the contribution given to South Africa.
Esse painel estava para ser o primeiro.
And this panel that has been led by, or moderated by the Consul General, is supposed to be the first one.
E como nada acontece por acaso, Deus sabe de tudo.
But because nothing happened as a mere coincidence, God knows all.
Então eu tenho o prazer de ter no painel dois senhores.
So I have the honor and the pleasure to have, as a member of this panel discussion, 2 gentlemen.
E vou pedir que juntem-se a mim ali nos sofás.
And as I call out the names, I will request them to now take the seats here at the sofas.
Como eu disse, eu tento sempre pronunciar os nomes corretamente para não falhar, mas acho que o primeiro nome é fácil, o segundo é que eu vou ter assim algumas dificuldades. Mas eu vou chamar o Major General Wilson. Agora o outro nome é que eu estou com dificuldade de...
So I strive by all means to pronounce the name, people's name correctly. So, Major General Wilson Kose, please.
Jose. I'm gonna try. The Greek is a problem.
Please, if Major General can.
General é ex-chefe do Corpo de Serviço da Força de Defesa Nacional da África do Sul.
So he is a retired member of the strength of the South African Army.
Ex-membro fundador da ala militar do Congresso Nacional Africano, ANC.
So he is a former or founder of the MK, the military army of ANC.
Tem carreira militar.
He is a military in his career.
General Kossi.
So General Ossi.
Ingressou na MK em 1961.
He joined the MK in 1961.
Sendo dos membros mais jovens a ingressar, recebeu o treino militar na União Soviética.
So being one of the youngest, and he received military training in the Soviet Union.
Vou chamar também o general, eu estou com uma responsabilidade. Como eu já disse ontem quando recebi, eu não sou militar, mas tenho que me munir de forças militares para ter a responsabilidade de mediar ou moderar este painel com duas entidades com um background militar. E eu aqui estou muito segura, porque ninguém aqui vai me tocar.
So to mention that I'm delighted, now I'm revested with military authority and powers. I'm leading a panel which is now comprised with only generals. So and no one will be touching me today. I'm full forced.
O general que eu vou chamar é o general Baltazar Bernardo Francisco Pimenta.
So now also member of the panel, General Baltazar Francisco Pimenta.
Ao longo da sua carreira militar,
so during his military career,
durante a Primeira República, ou seja, as Forças Armadas Populares de Libertação de Angola, as FAPLA.
During the First Republic, FAPLA, he was member of the First Army for the Popular Liberation of Angola.
Serviu várias unidades militares.
So he served various military bases.
Todas elas bem definidas. Aqui, tropas territoriais e forças armadas aéreas.
All of them well defined, being the troops and even the air forces.
Monitor político do esquadrão.
So he was a political militar of a quadrum.
Eu estou a tentar resumir porque talvez depois, se alguém quiser, eu possa vender esses CVs porque é muita riqueza de informação que tem.
So I'm just trying to summarize their curriculum because it's so rich. So if someone wants to know more, the CG is able to share or to sell the information.
I said if someone wants to buy it, I won't be able to
sell the CDs.
To sell CDs. They are so rich. So I'm rich already. Thank you. General Wilson, muito obrigada por fazer parte do nosso painel. General Baltazar, muito obrigada por fazer parte do nosso painel. Nós vamos então passar a palavra ao General Wilson para poder falar da sua experiência do tema que nós aqui trouxemos, que tem a ver com a libertação da Angola como influência na solução do estrago na África do Sul.
So to mention that, welcome and to our two speakers, Honorable Major General Wilson Rossi and General Baltazar Pimenta. Welcome to the panel discussion. The first one to speak, then we're giving the floor to Major General Wilson to speak about this topic that we are discussing within this panel. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
You want this specific?
No, it's all right. I'll stand.
Okay.
Nice picture.
No,
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not the founder of MK. I was just an angry man who was organized into MK by our high command who organized MK. That is the Mandelas and so on. One good comrade of mine sitting there taking pictures correctly characterized my generation as angry young man. And that was correct. I'm glad I'm sitting next to Fapla there. Before, if I were to reflect back into what was being discussed here, I find that colonialism all over Africa was just the same. It degraded all of us. We had no status. My father had what I call a native name, Mardibaze Krasere. Oh, he said, what is your Christian name? And they had to say, he said, no, this is my name. Gave him the name, his vernacular name. But they gave him the name of John. So he adopted that. When I went to school, I had my vernacular names, which is Zolilo or Zola. Then they asked me, what is your Christian name? Then I had to think back that, by the way, I don't have what they want. But I reflected back, my brother's name was William, so I called myself Willie, which is how that W came into my names on my passport. But reflecting back, far back than 1975, we were neighbors with Fapla in Dar es Salaam, in Kurasin. They were just at the back. So this solidarity between Augustino and Tambo goes way back, goes to SWAPO, and many other liberation movements which were formed then, which formed that alliance at the time. And when NATO realized that independence for Angola was around the corner, he told his friend that we're going back to Angola. For us, we had no idea about South Africa. The furthest who were nearer South Africa was possibly Tanzania. Yeah, at the time, because your Zambians were still the Rhodesians, controlled by the British. But there we were sitting with Fapla, and Fapla said, NATO said, we're going home, Oliver. And when we're there, we're going to call you into our country so that you can fight better. Angola was not yet independent at that time. But there was confidence in this man.
And he knew he's got the solidarity of this other liberation movement. He was in solidarity with, like, Frelimo, for instance, one of in Zapu. And all those progressive liberation movements of the time. That progressive man has kept on. When our guys were deep in UNITA territory, in Kapulamo, and the other places like Benguela, we were there. It was not right that we were just being opportunistic. There is something when you mix a Cuban and you mix a Cuban and you mix a South African and an Angolan. It's an angry mix. It is an angry mix. We were banning, there was something going on between Margaret Thatcher some years back, detained of some sort. And in Kapulama, we banned the effigies of Margaret Thatcher and all the people who were trying to create peace when we were still fighting. And we were banning that in Kapulama, which is a camp in UNITA-controlled territory. Which is where Tambo always took us, the people who had fought much earlier, took us then in that year into Kapulama to teach the young lions. Because these young lions, when they came in much later and found us stuck, because there was still the Rhodesia, it was still difficult to get into South Africa. But Angola was keeping us there. We were training and were fighting. So it is no accident that we were in those parts of the country, because we were preparing ourselves. Comrades, you have to be angry sometimes, but you have to find peace within yourself. Now that we've reached this point in South Africa, we are in trouble in South Africa, but with what was being said here by Angola, one has got time to reflect as I'm listening here to the young Angolans talking to us. That when it was tough for people like Mandela's and the leadership of that generation, they didn't look west, they looked north. They approached some of us who were angry and perhaps a little bit tired with the way the ANC was saying, no, you go into those trains and get into those carriages of white people, and you're going to be arrested there without jewelry. What is the hell of with these old people? Why can't they realize that we need to fight now? By the time they had not come, they had not decided then. And when they had decided, we jumped. They had to look north. remember I said they have not looked west. Perhaps if we want to do our revival as a movement, because we are in trouble now, we better remember. Because sometimes I realize that we're looking west more than we should look north. We've got friends out there which were called. We went to them for help, and they helped us, they trained us, and we came back and fought. They are still there. They are telling us today where they were. I've visited Angola when it was not as is shown here. The progress that is made tells me that we ought to look north and not west. We've received help in all the countries where we have been to. Cuba came in when we were training and reminded us during training. Cuba came in the name of Che Guevara. He visited each camp where we were in Algeria, in Egypt, and Ethiopia. And said, comrades, don't forget one thing. Once you've fought and won, the people you won that country from will always want it back. So you ought to, you must defend the revolution. And I'm afraid it's something which was favored to do once we got into political power. And once you get involved in a revolution, you must defend that revolution. Which is what Angola did. I was right in the gates of Angola, where actually there was a military vehicle which was left there by the Angolans, shot on the gates of Angola, of Sandals. I don't know whether it's still there, but there are many examples. He says it's still there. Comrades, I am not a fan of MK. I was just a soldier, an angry young man at the time. I am at peace now. We have achieved what we have achieved, but it is not enough. There is more to do. But we've got what was also articulated here, corruption. You can't develop with corruption. I have more years in the ANC than all those people put together in Parliament. And I've never put my foot wrong in abusing the money of the people. Tango taught me in many ways on how to raise funds, because whilst we were not fighting, he said, go and study. That country needs all the skills it can. I came back with some soldiers from my detachment. We didn't have accommodation. And in Cape Town, there were 10 of us. I didn't have a home. I told those 10, let us organize a trust. Went to Kailicha. There were some abandoned flats in Kailicha which people had boycotted because they couldn't pay the rent, and I understood that because I was from the township. I said, comrades, let us have a trust. What do we do with the trust? I said, we want to raise funds so that we can have accommodation. I said, no, but we can go to the ANC. We can't go to the ANC. The ANC has got lots of members here, unlike in exile, where we were closer just to about 20,000. Here it has got thousands of people. If it gives me a house, it must give every member. The long and short of it, Red September, when we finally went to Red September, we said, Red September, can you point us to some funders who can fund this idea which we had? The long and short of it, in no time we found funders and we bought flats. And I housed all those people. I was the secretary. I put the price where they were fixed at 45,000 each unit. It's double-story building. It's better than all the houses the ANC has provided. This forum, you can go for yourself. There's one of them there, gave in the house free. He has not paid. Stand up, General. Stand up. That's it. Other people are staying in 2 rooms and so on. As a trust, we bought all those things for our people, for our my soldiers. I think I've got the right to go. Popular. Those are some of the experiences we gained by being neighboring to you guys. I was just reflecting, nothing better. Thank you.
Muito obrigada. Thank you very much, Papa, Wilson, your Christian name. I also have a Christian name. I think, as you say, we have the same problems. We all have the Christian name. Even my name, the first letter should be with a K, but we write with the C because of this situation of our person com talk em português, da situação dos colonizadores. Vamos então chamar Dr. General, nosso professor Baltazar.
We're now calling upon General Baltazar Pimenta.
Tem, às vezes os últimos são os primeiros, mas também às vezes os últimos são prejudicados.
So we say that, as about say, the last will be the first, but often or most of the time, people live at last are the most given in prejudice.
Então aqui o prejudicado vai ser o tempo, mas gostávamos de ter a sua experiência. Espero que esse tema vai nos trazer muita riqueza na nossa intelectualidade. Então, a vossa atenção aqui o General Baltazar. Faz favor.
So we're just having to battle with the time, but we want to hear from your experience, your expertise. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General Baltazar.
Muito obrigado. Eu vou falar fundamentalmente em português, porque mal falo inglês.
So thank you so very much. I will be speaking in Portuguese because I'm not fluent in English.
Bem, como já fui aqui apresentado, eu chamo-me Baltazar Pimenta. Bem, o meu nome é todo em português, porque infelizmente eu nasci nessa altura colonial, e então meu nome é todo em português.
So as I was introduced, my name is Baltazar Pimenta. All my names are in Portuguese. As it was spoken here, I was born during the colonial years.
Tanto isso é uma das, vamos dizer, uma das condições que nós temos para alguma ascensão social.
So these were some of the conditions that we had to go to in order for you to be allowed or have social exceptions.
Como o meu pai já era enfermeiro, portanto, ele preferiu dar o nome todo em português para facilitar a minha vida estudantil e então não criar dificuldades.
So my father, he was a nurse and he was already inserted in the society as a nurse. So to facilitate my academic life, then he gave full name in Portuguese of mine.
Portanto, eu para além de general, portanto, eu servi as forças territoriais, eu servi o exército e a força aérea. Há 2 anos passei uma comissão de reforma e sou professor na Universidade de Angola.
So to say that I'm ranked as general, I've served the army, I've served the Air Force of the Republic of Angola, and 2 years back I went into retirement, and currently I dedicate myself into the academia. I'm a lecturer.
Eu queria dar mais alguns aportes sobre, portanto, a intervenção do doutor e aqui do meu grande companheiro de armas, o general.
So to mention that I would conduct my presentation taking base or alignment of what has been spoken already by Dr. Luis Ndala and also by my comrade of Army of Weapon, General Wilson Ossi.
Portanto, o segundo, de acordo com a intervenção do Dr. Dala, nós efetivamente tivemos tudo aquilo que ele disse, mais alguma coisa. Angola, certamente que na condição em que estava, tinha enormes debilidades sociais, muitas debilidades políticas e econômicas, então essas são agrômeras, são magistrais.
So to mention that, as it was highlighted by Dr. Luis Paulo Ndala, Angola during the colonial or post-1975, we had so many challenges. Politically speaking, socially speaking, economically or financially speaking, they were the biggest challenges and difficulties we had faced those days.
A título de exemplo, vou dar aqui dado que é dos mais complexos, cujas consequências continuamos com elas lidar até hoje.
So to mention that, as an example, I will be sharing some details of complexity that we are still facing in the country today.
Dos cerca de 15, 16 milhões que nós éramos até a altura da independência,
so out of the 15 or 16 million people that we were in Angola until 1975, the independence year,
apenas estavam reconhecidos como cidadãos 7 milhões.
So, as citizens, were only registered or acknowledged 7 million.
Haviam os cidadãos assimilados e os indígenas. Os indígenas não tinham direito à nacionalidade, não tinham direito ao reconhecimento, nem sequer contavam na estatística.
So, out of those people, you would have those that were literated one or the assimilated one and the indigenous people. So the indigenous, they were not registered, they would have no rights whatsoever, not even nationality they had.
Nós recebíamos o bilhete de identidade de cidadão português quando fizéssemos a 4ª classe. quem não fez quarta classe não tem direito a bilhete de identidade, ou seja, não é reconhecido como cidadão.
So we were forced or obliged to receive the Portuguese ID to be considered as a citizen until or only when you reach grade 4 or when you qualified in grade 4. And if you do not reach that level of your studies, you were not recognized as a citizen.
80% dos cidadãos angolanos eram analfabetos.
So 80% of the Angolan people, they were illiterate.
Portanto, país com essa estatística é dolorosamente penoso, porque há o problema de incapacidade de assimilação de conhecimentos por parte das pessoas que não têm qualificação.
So a country with such statistic or data, it is something very dear, very dangerous, because people are not qualified, people are not able to assimilate or to gain knowledge in order to transform or to produce things.
Apesar disso, nós fomos lutando, fomos tentando inverter a situação, que até hoje temos imensas sequelas.
So besides these mentions or challenges that I'm mentioning here, we've been resolving some of them, we've been battling with some of them, but until today we are still having some of the consequences of the colonialism.
Eu normalmente digo lá na academia aos meus alunos que Angola é potencialmente rica, mas é realmente pobre.
So I often say to my students at academic or university to say that Angola is a country which is potentially rich, but it is in reality a poor country.
E neste momento a nossa tarefa está em tentar transformar essa gente e nelas dar a verdadeira riqueza, que é o conhecimento.
So our challenge in terms of priority lies into now getting to the people the human capital, to transform that human capital that we have and to give them or to grant them the real rich, which is knowledge. You need to capacitate the people.
Estamos a contar convosco.
And we count on you, South Africa.
Porque efetivamente a África Sul tem muitas valias nessa matéria. Muitos angolanos passaram por aqui, hão de passar, e efetivamente esperamos de vocês essa mão para que consigamos transformar a nossa quantidade em qualidade, para em conjunto conseguirmos alavancar a África.
So to mention that we count on you, South Africa, because we know for a fact that many Angolans, they've studied in South Africa, and there are many more Angolans to come and study in South Africa, because we know the level and the quality of the education or the academic system in South Africa is strong, it is advanced, so we need to take this quantity in terms of number of Angolan folk illiterate so that they may be transformed and being qualified, and together we bring the progress and growth of Africa as a whole.
Há também uma forma que eu tenho de incentivar os meus estudantes, que é o seguinte, que a potencialidade de riquezas que nós temos, se nós juntarmos a cientificidade que, por exemplo, a África Sul tem e outros países, nós seremos simplesmente uma potência mundial. Essa zona toda Austrália.
So to mention that I've been saying and sharing these thoughts with my students, to say that the potentiality that Angola has, or the wealth or the rich that Angola has in the country, in the soil, I've been telling my students, if we combine that with scientific knowledge or technological advanced knowledge, which South Africa has, we can join hands, make it work. Angola can become one of the power nations in the world, particularly leading the region.
Nós diríamos que ao longo da nossa independência, nós alcançamos lá em 1975, portanto, nessa altura tínhamos aquele Estado que tínhamos, hoje vamos lutando, temos coisas boas, com certeza também temos coisas más, que nós temos que lutar. Há avanços e há alguns recuos. E uma das coisas foi essa que foi dita aqui, a corrupção. E tanto, enquanto existirmos, temos que lutar, temos que encontrar formas, temos que procurar a dignidade.
So to mention that, yes, indeed, Angola is a country conquered or reached its independence in 1975. This has been done. So fast forward, we've had some progress, but we also do acknowledge that we've had some setbacks, and some of them, or one of them was mentioned here in the presentation of Dr. Luis, which is corruption. So corruption is one of the issues that is pulling us back not to move progressively and to develop the country. As long as we exist or as long as we are alive, we need to fight against all these situations that hold us back not to be able to be progressive.
Mas também nós temos evoluções no campo social, muitas das coisas o doutor Dalla já disse, no campo político, no campo econômico, mas nós achamos que são poucas, nós precisamos de mais. Precisamos de acelerar, precisamos de ter uma cadência maior para que não fiquemos para trás e para que, com o potencial natural, diria, aquele princípio, segundo estudiosos como Paulo Vidal de la Blas, que dizia que a natureza já propôs, nós é que temos que dispor com inteligência.
So to mention that we need to keep moving. Yes, we've had some advancement and some progress socially, politically, and economically, and some of them were highlighted during the presentation of Dr. Luis Paulo Dalla already, but they are not enough. We need much more. We need to accelerate. We need to be of faster speed in terms of progress and development. As Paul, as one of the researcher or study men, academic men, Mr. Paul, that was mentioned, the nature itself already proportionate us the possibility or the reach or the wealth. We, the humans, are the ones who needs to work what the nature offers us already.
Bem, eu queria, tinha muito mais coisas para dizer, mas de forma muito curta, eu queria passar a mensagem a dizer, camaradas, companheiros, amigos, compatriotas sul-africanos, africanos, nós contamos convosco e gostaria que estivéssemos sempre juntos, sempre unidos, assim como estamos agora numa conferência como essa, e que sejam mais conferências dessas em todos os níveis, em todos os ramos. Vamos trocando experiência, vamos trocando conhecimento, sabedorias, para que nós consigamos então transformar a África um bom continente para se viver e não o que está agora.
So to mention that I had much more to say, but just for the sake of time, I will now pause here. But to say that I want to reiterate and address this appeal or invitation unto our fellow South Africans in this room to say, let us continue engaged, let us continue talking, let us continue exchanging experience and best practices, because as together as we are today in this venue, at this platform, for more lectures such as these, so that together we may grow and consolidate Africa into one of the best continents to live in, unlike the current dispensational reality.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you so very much.
Muito obrigada, General Baltazar. Muito obrigada, General Ross.
Thank you so much, and to the two generals.
Foi prazer ter-vos. É painel, como perceberam, nós partilhamos momentos de muita sabedoria. Eu, pelo menos, saio daqui muito repleta de conhecimento, experiência, e peço mais uma grande salva de palmas
So to mention that it's a very rich panel that we've just had. Thank you so much for the two speakers. I personally, as a moderator, I'm leaving this platform with a lot of knowledge because a lot of experience was shared here, of which, out of what has been presented here, the moderator requests for another round of applause for the speakers.
Vamos aqui reiterar duas palavras que eu também consegui reter. Uma delas é respeito.
So I'm going to just reiterate or highlight two words that I could retain during the presentation, one of them being respect.
Respeito pelas nossas ideologias, respeito pelas nossas ambições, respeito pelas pessoas que trabalham conosco. Aqui foi demonstrado pelos dois generais que, pelo respeito, contribuíram para o desenvolvimento e a liberdade dos países em cada um representa.
So we need to abide by respect, respecting our ideologies, respecting our ambitions, and also respecting what, as it was mentioned here by the two speakers, they've given their contributions by exercising respect, and they've done their journey based on respect.
E outra palavra que eu retenho é camaradagem. Foi falado várias vezes camarada. Camarada não é só camarada de partido. Camarada é aquele que é camarada. É amigo, é irmão, é compatriota. É aquele que segura na nossa mão e luta conosco. Este é o camarada.
So the second word that I leave out or highlight here is comrade. So to be a comrade, it's not only in a political arena or sphere. To be a comrade is to be a friend. Is to be someone that you can count on or lean on.
Not only. That's what I say another word. I said, comrade is also someone that if you are alone, is always next to you and fight with you.
Thank you.
This is comrade.
Count on.
Muito obrigada. Mais uma vez, eu agora já consigo pronunciar o nome, com todo o respeito, General Kos.
So thank you so much. Once again, I'm able now to pronounce the local name, not the Christian one.
We are still fighting.
General Jose.
Okay, thank you very much for this moment. I'm not
and collaboration must take place on an ongoing basis. But the most beautiful one is for you to visit the camps, such as in Kabwe, outside Dodoma, an hour and a half outside Dodoma, to see the military camps where the liberation movement operated from and worked from. It's a wonderful story that you will hear from Tanzanians themselves, talking about the experiences of Angolans, Namibians, and others. It's a wonderful stuff. I think the contributions made here are fascinating for that visit and for us to share with the rest of the liberation movement the information, data by way of photographs and stories we have heard from our grandfathers and so on, because those are going to disappear. We will not have the legacy that we would like to see. Both academically and historically, we owe it to posterity to provide such basis. They've given us a good platform for doing that. Thank you very much.
Vamos então, falei sem desligar o microfone. Vamos então começar a condecoração, mas antes aqui a representante da Rússia, do consulado russo, também gostava de tomar a palavra.
So we're going to proceed with the condecoration moment, but we have also a representative from Russia, and we're going to give the floor just for a few remarks.
Dear friends, I'm very grateful to the Friends of Cuba Society to invite me for this special occasion of a half a century of independence of Angola. Thank you very much, dear Consul General of Angola, Consul General of Namibia, distinguished guests, and of course our elders, and of course our beautiful youth, including young grandson from Agustinian and the family, is also here. I just would like to let you know that in Moscow these very days, with a series of events celebrating this special occasion with the veterans of Angola. And some of them was invited to Luanda to receive a special medals issued for half a centenary as well. And I just would like to tell you that when I first came across about 11th of November, it struck me that it was 11th of November, commemoration of end of World War I. I miss this day. And in some minds, it exists as war in Angola started. But in true understanding, we can also only have a perspective from Angolan point of view. And it was a day when Angola gained its independence with a noble man of the African land, poet and doctor, Agustinian Neto, his comrades and friends, state that they will be centuries to come. And in remembrance of the heavy losses of Angolan people, we spoke about 2 million. We spoke about 12,000 of Cubans. South Africans fell there, and 80 Russian military advisors and wives and specialists. They sent their last breath under the African heaven, or African soil. And let me read you, in conclusion, the verse by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, which he wrote in 1915, during the midst of World War I. Out of courage shown in battle, out of blood shed in war, out of the grief of those who are left, out of people's deeds of sacrifice, spirit fruits will come to grow if souls with knowledge of the Spirit turn their mind to spirit realms. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nós apreciamos as palavras e em nome do Consulado da República de Angola nós agradecemos a vossa presença.
We do thank you for the kind words, and on behalf of the Consulate General of Angola, we do thank you for your coming.
Nós fizemos realmente a condecoração, Sua Excelência, Sr. Presidente, condecorou 6.000 cidadãos nacionais e estrangeiros.
So it happened in Angola within the spirit of celebration of the 50th anniversary of our independence. His Excellency, the President of the Republic, he condecorated about 6,000 citizens, Angolians and foreign nationals.
E reconhecemos realmente a África do Sul, Namíbia, Cuba e outros países irmãos foram reconhecidos. Eu não conhecia o filho do Oliver Tambo, foi para Angola receber a condecoração do pai. Foi momento de muita significância para a história das relações internacionais do nosso país.
So we, Angola as a country, we do acknowledge and recognize the contributions of all those countries that assisted us during the struggle. Namibia, South Africa, Cuba, Russia, and many others. So the CG personally, she did not know the son of Oliver Tambo, but he went to Angola to receive the medal on behalf of his late father, as he was also condecorated.
Vamos então fazer a condecoração, não vou chamar a condecoração, vamos chamar um reconhecimento. Então eu vou pedir que aqui o protocolo ajuda para enquanto dar. Eu vou pedir ao Cônsul-Geral da República de Angola, da República da Namíbia, para ajudar a fazer esse trabalho.
So to say that it is a moment of acknowledgement and recognition, so we calling Honorable Elizabeth Heron, the Consul General of the Republic of Namibia, to kick off this moment.
Por favor, please, can you just give the names here to Mr. Dr. Ramesh Bawa. Umesh Bawa. Deixa-me pôr aqui a medalha, 50 anos, para saber, para saber que aqui foi mesmo medalhado, com uma medalha de ouro de coração, uma medalha de 50 anos.
So to mention that the medal is being given on behalf of our 50th anniversary of our independence.
Aqui vamos pedir para entregar ao General
So we're going to now give the certificate of acknowledgement to Major General Wilson Horsey, and the medal as well.
Reconhecimento da Angola, reconhecimento da sua sabedoria, reconhecimento de estar aqui conosco. Mais uma salva de palmas.
Another round of applause, please. We are acknowledging as well.
Gostava também de entregar aqui o nosso parceiro, Dr. Marius Fresman, para receber esta reconhecimento.
So we also calling our partner, our friend, Dr. Marius Fransman, to receive this certificate.
Vamos entregar agora ao Dr. Luís Paulo Dalla para receber. Veio diretamente da província da Huila, cidade de Lubango, para honrarmos com a sua presença e a sua sabedoria. Muito obrigada.
So, Dr. Luís Paulo Ndala came all the way from Lubango City, Huila Province. He traveled from Angola to attend this specific engagement. Thank you for your coming.
Agora vamos entregar ao nosso general Baltazar para receber das mãos da Consul-Geral. Nosso general, muito obrigada, veio da cidade de Luanda, autorizado pelo chefe de Estado-Maior para representar a este momento. Muito obrigada, uma salva de palmas.
So now General Baltazar, he came all the way from Luanda, Angola as well to attend this engagement, duly authorized.
Eu vou entregar então aqui a Cônsul para fazer chegar ao nosso speaker este momento.
So we also recognizing the former Speaker of the Parliament of South Africa,
Uma salva de palmas.
from a Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of South Africa.
Muito obrigada por isso. E agora não posso entregar a ela porque ela é que vai receber. Gostava de pedir ao Dr. Bawa para fazer aqui as honras da casa e entregar o certificado à doutora Elizabeth.
So I will call Dr. Umesh Bawa in order to do the honors and issuing the certificate to the Consul General of Namibia, Honorable Elizabeth Theron.
Sim, senhora. Mais uma salva de palmas.
Thank you so much.
Nós gostávamos Pedíamos então aos speakers que se levantassem, por favor, para tirar a foto e então vamos refrescar-nos um bocadinho lá. Vamos fazer a entrega dos certificados todos lá fora. Todos os participantes vão receber os certificados de participação. E mais uma vez agradecemos a presença de todos. Deus abençoe Angola, Deus abençoe a África do Sul. É um prazer receber-vos todos aqui. Bem-haja, uma salva de palmas para todos nós.
So to mention now, this moment will be reserved for a group photo for all the speakers, moderators, and the university management and guests. And to mention that we have refreshment right on the foyer side. Thank you so very much for coming. God bless Angola. God bless South Africa. God bless Africa. Thanks for your coming. Thank you. Wine. Oh, the choir.